102 degrees as we get set for the Broncos and the Colts. And today's game is brought to you by Renault, combining quality and affordability to bring you truly remarkable cars. By Owens Corning, makers of pink fiberglass attic blanket insulation. And by Canon, manufacturer of advanced plain paper copiers. And we welcome you to Baltimore, Maryland. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert along with John Brody. Yes, it is hot here in Baltimore. People excited about the Colts coming off the overtime victory last week over the New England Patriots, while the Denver Broncos with a victory over Pittsburgh last Sunday, although not an impressive debut for quarterback John Elway.
Well, a lot of people are going to have unimpressive debuts, as John did down in Pittsburgh playing against that front four. His team did get out with a win, however. That's the important thing, and he expects better days.
1 for 8 for Elway, bruised his right elbow, did not play at all in the second half, while Baltimore quarterback Mike Pagel had a superb game last week. 2 touchdowns, 17 for 31 for Pagel, and he has been a very pleasant surprise. In fact, Coach Frank Cook feels that Pagel somewhere along the line could develop into another Danny White. But the big story here, that first appearance of John Elway in Baltimore, where he is not a very popular figure.
But he did fill the stands, Marv. They've got 57,000 here. I think there has never been this sort of enthusiasm for a player that's only played 2 weeks in this game. No rookie has created the whole viewpoint that he has in such a short time. I commend Dan Reeves for putting him in this position, and I really think he'll be rewarded for it.
All right, we're getting set for the kickoff, and Denver has won the toss, and they will receive. They sold nearly 30,000 tickets this week. It is almost a sellout. Capacity here in Baltimore, 57,340. The Denver Broncos, although accounting for only 139 yards of total offense last week, beating Pittsburgh by the score of 14-10. And Zach Thomas getting set to receive as Raul Allegre, one of the heroes from last week's overtime victory, kicks it off. Steve Wilson, who was back with Thomas. Wilson cutting to the outside. Good return inside the 25-yard line. Steve Wilson, the 5-year man from Howard, running it back 21 yards, stopped by Newton Williams. And this is the first of many receptions for John Elway.
Marv, it's hard enough to hear out there with the Baltimore crowd the way it is when there's been 30,000. Now there's 57. It could be a very difficult day for the wide receivers. They'll have to keep things basic. You see Upchurch and Watson. I don't think there'll be any act quick.
Sutter, Bishop, Bryant, Howard, and Lanier on that front line. First down at the 24. The running backs are Farrell and Winder. Long count by Elway. And looks to throw on first down. And overthrows. Nearly picked off by Derek Hatchett. Intended for Steve Watson.
Well, nothing like getting rid of the cobwebs. That baby was a perfect spiral. I didn't think the defensive back could drop it.
And a look at the Baltimore defensive unit. Steve Parker replacing Jose Taylor, which is a surprise. Taylor played well last week. The linebackers, Braceland, Cook, one of last week's big heroes, Krause, and Vernon Maxwell, who was outstanding. And there's the Baltimore secondary.
That team is their whole personality surrounds their linebackers, Marv.
Nathan Poole has come on, wearing number 34. In the backfield with Sandy Winder. Poole coming off his best day as a pro. And this is Winder on the flank. Boy, is this crowd alive. Vernon Maxwell on the tackle. So the pickup by Winder. And now Frank Tush goes to the nickel defense. The nickel back Kendall Williams has come on, replacing the linebacker Barry Krause. And now Denver with the extra wide receiver, rookie Clint Sampson joining Rick Upchurch and Steve Watson. Third down, 7 at the 27. Penalty marker down. And Elway, let's see, a battle between Larry Anderson of Baltimore. However, Elway may have crossed the line of scrimmage.
No, I'll tell you what happened. The left tackle was in motion before the ball would snap. So it's going to be 5 yards against the Broncos, but what a fine play by the receiver. I'll tell you, that was actually an end-over-end job. It's very hot, the ball's very slippery, and that may happen more than once today.
Larry Anderson in a wrestling match with Rick Upchurch. Elway very close to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, but false start, number 70 offense, still third down.
James Stoddard is called for the false start. He is the left tackle.
That could also happen quite a bit, Mark, just due to the fact that you cannot hear your quarterback. And Dan Reyes was talking last night to me about the importance of away from home hearing your quarterback talk. They may have to get a microphone in there to help the quarterback. I think it's a good suggestion.
Third down at 12. In fact, Steve DeBerg does wear the amplifier because he has a problem with his throat. This is Winder. Sandy Winder, short of the first down, wrestled down by Kim Anderson. Anderson and James Burrows makes the stop. This crowd is charged up as the Baltimore Colts have stopped Elway and the Broncos in their first drive.
You know, and he'll get underway. It's just a little tough in Baltimore for anybody to get moving. And remember again, Baltimore plays pretty aggressive defense. You don't get drives going on them very often.
Luke Prestridge kicking away to Larry Anderson. Anderson to the 33. And he is stopped by Keith Bishop, a 44-yard punt, and a 7-yard return. Bishop and Steve Wilson combining on the stop, and the Baltimore Colts go to the offense for the first time. They spot it at the 33-yard line. Last week, Baltimore over New England in overtime. Only 30 seconds into overtime. They actually never had the ball on offense.
Didn't take Cooks long once he picked it up, though, did it?
Curtis Dickey, Randy McMillan are the running backs. Boozer and Butler are the wide receivers. And this is Dickey to the 40-yard line. Picked up 7. Setting a 2nd and 3. Steve Foley and Lewis Wright combining on the stop. Check that, Randy McMillan on the carry. And a look at the Denver defensive unit. Barney Chavis, it was Don Latimer's turn to start at nose tackle. And the linebackers, anchored by Randy Gradishaw.
The only new one is Busick. Good player, and Lewis Wright is having, again, a stalwart opening. He's an all-pro if there ever was one.
They're calling it a 2nd down and 2. That is Booza in motion. First down and more. Randy McMillan ripping off 25 yards and a first down for the Colts at the Denver 35.
I was just going to mention when Curtis Dickey made that fine run on first down, they've got another player by the name of Randy McMillan. The two of them gained over 140 yards together last week, so they truly are a tandem, which you see very few of in this game anymore.
Randy McMillan in his 3rd year out of Pittsburgh. Again, Boozer comes across. And this is Dickey. Taken behind the line by Mike Harden. Mike Harden had a most unusual game last week. Twice he took laterals after turnovers. Both times ran the ball into the end zone. Both called back by penalties.
You know, he's made a fine transition. He was normally a free safety, strong safety type, but he's adjusted to play in the corner very well. He's a hitter. He's an aggressive type player, and they feel they filled in well with him.
Loss of 3, 2nd and 13 at the Denver 38. 4 minutes gone by. First quarter, no score. And here's Spiegel to put it up. The tight end, Tim Sherwood, but well short of a first down. So Sherwood, the 3-year man out of Boston College, stopped by Randy Gradishaw.
You It is short of the first down, but they are in field goal range. And contrary to many people's thoughts where there should be a lot of points scored, I think that the winner could easily have 17 today.
17, the magic number, huh?
Well, both these teams have good defenses, and I think 17 might get it.
All right, we'll hold you to that. Marking it down.
Don't.
It's a 3rd down and 6 at the 31. Porter for the first down. 17-yard pass play. Porter stopped by Wilson.
The impressive thing to me, Marv, number 72, Carl Balderschweiler, on Rulon Jones, knocked him clean back on his backside. The left guard, Chris Hinton, they know he's a fine one, 290, 6'5", but it's a young one. So far, nobody for the Broncos has been able to penetrate, and that's the key.
And it's a first down at the Denver 18. Good-looking drive by Baltimore. Randy McMillan.
If you'll note, also, all of the plays that Pagel has called are on the first snap count. He hasn't waited. He's gone to the line of scrimmage. He's got the center getting him the ball. That way, it's very easy to put your attention on what you're trying to do and get it executed. They can't hear any better than the Broncos could, so they're trying to do the simplest and the best.
2nd down and 7, down to the 15. Mike Pagel had his most extraordinary game in college at Arizona State against John Elway and Stanford. He threw 7 touchdowns.
Tell me about it. I watched.
Oh, the old Stanford man with his true feelings coming out. Here's Curtis Dickey, and he is hit back. So Dickey tried to go left, and that Denver surge, led by Jim Ryan, inside linebacker on the left side.
We're looking at Zeke Bartkowski. I think that's right. Long-time quarterback. Now the offensive coach for the Baltimore Colts. Says of Pagel that he's an outstanding athlete, had a real good game last week, and he expects him to continue.
It is a 3rd down and 6 at the 15. And Pagel looking into it, nearly picked off by Lewis Wright. Pass intended for Ray Butler. So Pagel going for the 6. And now the field goal unit moves on.
And that's where the new rule had an effect right there. There was incidental contact on the play. When Ray Butler went down there, he ran into Louis Wright. There could have been a penalty last year. The rule change was that if it's incidental to the action, they will not call it. And Louis Wright almost picked one off. You won't see him drop many chances, but he dropped that one.
And here is Raul Allegre with the punter Ron Stark to hold. Allegre acquired from the Dallas Cowboys 2 weeks back, succeeding on 3 field goals last week. And this from 33. It is good.
Could have been 63. That's up in the second deck.
A rookie out of Texas continuing his sensational kicking. And Baltimore leads it 3-0.
Introducing the amazing Renault Encore.
These two clubs met, and Denver with a convincing victory by the score of 28-10. Ball game that saw Curtis Dickey star. He ran for 115 yards. There's Raul Allegre.
The change that's taken place in Baltimore is they think they have a good group. And I think prior to that, there was a lot of beefing and moaning, and they never really got together. And Cush has groups that know who the boss is, and they're all together.
This is Steve Wilson picking his way. And Wilson out near the 35, hit down by Newton Williams. 24-yard return by Wilson. And once again, John Elway hears it from the crowd. Last week that Elway may have been aiming the ball, may have been very, very tight.
I understand what you're saying, where he's trying to make sure that he's throwing the ball where he wants to throw it. You can't do it. He's got as fine a natural motion as he's ever been in this game. He can do things that a lot of players have never been able to do. But hey, you don't just walk in and take over this game. This is the best in the world.
That roar greeting the announcement that the Orioles are in front of the Yankees. That roar was not for Elway. First down at the 34-yard line. Off the delay, this is Rick Parros. Picked picked up one. Barry Krause, inside linebacker on the right, was all over Rick Barros, who had a rough one last week. 10 carries, only 10 yards.
Well, you know, they're having a little offensive line problem. Both their tackles are top tackles. They feel that Studdard and Lanier can play the positions better than average. Their center is probably the best lineman on their football team offensively. Vlasic is out, remember. Paul Howard's playing now, and he's an old-timer, but they really haven't had any 5 guys together, so their coordination's been off, and this isn't a good group to be off with.
Second down and 9. Winder and Paros are the running backs.
Whoa.
Upchurch not able to hang on.
John's pressing a little, I'll tell you that, Marvin. If you had a chance to see him after he threw that ball, it was a high throw. What you do when you're a little anxious is throw the ball high. It's no different than in baseball. Pitcher does the same thing. And he's really not on top. If you watch his motion right now, he's moving a little too hard. He's throwing that ball too hard for the distance he's got to make it travel. Upchurch may have been knocked down if it had hit him in the chest at that pace. He's going to have to just relax, and it's nice to see that he is a human being. Some people have described him as a perfect one. So he'll have to settle down.
Elway has Upchurch and Watson as his wide man. Third down and 9. Stuffing John Elway, and the crowd loves it.
And this is a very good pass rush. Everyone had somebody picked up. It allowed Elway to jump up in the pocket, but Wisniewski jumped in and just made a fine recovery to pull John down rather than allowing him about a 12-yard gain. So you can see Baltimore's defense is cranked up, and that was expected.
Anderson awaiting this Luke Prestridge kick. Prestridge averaged 45 yards per punt last year, leading the NFL, and made it to the Pro Bowl. And a boomer. Anderson, the 6-year man from Louisiana Tech. Broke a tackle, but was forced out. And the Colts, who lead at 3-0, will take over. Rick Dennison leading that Bronco coverage off the 52-yard punt. A 6-yard return, and a timeout has been called. We'll be back in a moment.
When I do a job.
And a 33-yard field goal by Raul Alegre. The Baltimore Colts out in front of the Denver Broncos by the score of 3-0. 6:15 remaining. First quarter, and Baltimore to the offense. First down at their 29-yard line. Here's Pagel on the play action, going deep. Butler not able to hold on.
Oh, that's a nice defensive play. Pagel put that ball in a very good spot. Ray Butler should have been able to keep the defender from touching that ball because he had the inside. He had his shoulder to the inside. Now here's a guy like Butler. When you become a great receiver, once you get a step in front of a defender like he does with the ball, and you are between the defender and the ball, you have to keep him from getting a hand on the ball. Now, Butler, all he has to do is slow down a little bit, just keep it there, catch it in the outstretched arms. He could have made a big play out of it. Instead, they got 2nd and 10.
Mike Harden covering on the play. 2nd down and 10. Here's McMillan. And the Denver defense all over Randy McMillan, led by Rulon Jones, who comes off a big ball game last week. Sacked 2 fumble recoveries against Pittsburgh. Had only 2 sacks a year ago after 21 in his first couple of seasons. So Rulon has turned it around.
Well, Rulon Jones played, and I don't even know if anybody can count last year as a season. Rulon Jones was a great player. Nothing got started for Denver last year, and including Rulon. But you take a look. Last week he played real well, as you mentioned, Marv, and he is one of the young, great defensive ends.
He's up front with Carter and Chavis. 3rd down, 14, back at the 25. And Pagel fires the middle. He threw it off target, intended for Tracy Porter. Tom Jackson, number 57, covering, and Baltimore forced to punt. But first, for an update, let's go to NFL 83 in New York.
Okay, thank you, Marv. Ali Haji Sheikh for the Giants from 30 yards away in overtime on the first possession of OT. Bill Parcells has his first victory. The Giants beat the Falcons in overtime. Marv?
All right, let a bounce back for Haji Sheikh, who missed a field goal and an extra point last week in the opening day victory against the Los Angeles Rams. Here's Ron Stark booting. Oh, beauty. Zach Thomas chasing down. Oh, what a punt and roll for Stark. 65 yards.
And he didn't get a real good bounce on that ball. That was about 60 from the line of scrimmage in the air.
Last year, this tough sport.
Pittsburgh over Green Bay. They were in a shootout today, so Green Bay putting points up. Pittsburgh winning at 25-21. And Buffalo gets into the win column. Cincinnati having a very difficult time.
They did not have it together.
Dallas winning big over St. Louis in the fourth quarter. Off the 65-yard punt. A rough situation again for John Elway, who is 0 for 2 thus far this afternoon. The fumble, and Elway covers up. So we'll have to take another look at that handoff.
All right, nice close look. John takes the ball. Sometimes it's the way you give the ball on the handoff. Went right through Winder's hands. He never got his hands on it. That was on the back. Sometimes it's on the quarterback if he doesn't get it there. But that time Winder just tried to grab it, let it go underneath. That's his fumble. John made a good heads-up play to keep the ball.
And a defense from the crowd. What the fans here in Baltimore would love to see would be Elway yanked eventually by Dan Reeves, and things continue going the way it has gone.
It might happen if he seems rattled. I imagine it would be depending on the way Elway's playing, but I doubt that John reacts to situations pretty well. Now he's a little delay a game. That'll cost him about a foot. That's not a big problem. What is the problem is they don't have good field position. Baltimore's a young team, has everything going their way, and he's got to climb out of a hole.
By the final score, the Giants in overtime.
Violation of the 30-second count.
Over Atlanta, 16-13. Washington beating Philadelphia, so the Skins bouncing back from their loss to the Dallas Cowboys. Cleveland over Detroit in the fourth quarter.
That's a good time to have a big game for Sam because they've had a little trouble.
Chicago defeating Tampa Bay. Second down, still about 19. Out to the 5 is Sammy Winder. The Colts with a 3-0 lead on a 33-yard field goal by Raul Allegre. There's Sammy Winder, who had a superb game against Pittsburgh, his best game ever in the NFL. It was last Sunday, and he comes off of a solid rookie year, alternating with Dave Preston and Gerald Wilhite. He and Wilhite in a battle during training camp. Wilhite on injured reserve, out with a hamstring.
And that is a big loss for Denver because he was a multi-dimensional type back. He was an excellent pass receiver, and that's what a guy needs, particularly if you're an Elway.
Denver now third down and 14, and looking to talk it over. I saw an indication for a timeout with 3 minutes and 44 seconds remaining in this first quarter.
George timeout, Denver. George timeout, Denver.
So they did call for the time. Looks to be some confusion there, John.
There is some confusion, and it happens a lot of the time. Listen, this isn't the first time that Denver's ever been confused. You know, they've been sending in plays with Dan Reeves. It's not what he's always used to. He caused that foul up, in my opinion.
Bigger engines work.
John, how do you react to the severe coaching philosophies of Frank Coach?
Well, I don't know. I guess you mentioned earlier, have you ever played on a team where the coach slapped the player? And I've never played on one where he didn't.
Really?
I mean, that's just part of the deal, and I don't think anybody that plays takes it very seriously. And Frank Cush has his way, and everybody knows it now, and he's doing all right.
We'll get back to that point a little bit later on. Third down and 14 for Elway and the Broncos. Sammy Winder Winder, the intended receiver, covered by Vernon Maxwell, and still the next pass completed by Elway will be his first.
That's okay. He did all he can do from his position in a difficult. He put this ball the only place it could be thrown, and if Winder hangs on to the ball on the dead run, as he should, he runs it right down the field to about midfield. Well done by Elway, but takes 11.
There have been a couple of drops along the way.
Maybe he'll have to stick it in his face mask, because that one definitely hit him in the hand.
And Luke Prestridge deep in his end zone. Larry Anderson out at midfield awaiting this punt. And a good one. This is Anderson. Penalty marker down. Anderson to the 35. 25 and pulled over. A beautiful run back. 49-yard punt. 26-yard return of the punter Prestridge on the tackle. However, a flag down.
As John David Crow used to say when we'd come back to the huddle in the first series, they're hitting today. I mean, there is some intensity out there, and you can feel it clear up here.
Referee today is Gene Barth, the umpire Bob Boylston, head linesman Burl Toller, line judge Jack Johnson, the back judge Jimmy Rosser, side judge Jerry Austin, and the field judge is Fritz Graff. And here is Barth marking it.
Illegal use of the hands, number 55 on the run back. First down.
So on the run back, Barry Krause called for the illegal use of hands. And with 3:27 remaining in this first quarter, it's the Colts 3 and the Broncos nothing.
Mercedes.
Cush, who was not pleased with Barry Krause a moment ago. You say you've never been on a team where you have seen a player has not been slapped around by a coach?
Well, I mean, that's part of the game, and there's some assistant generally on either side of the line who is doing the same thing with his line. That happens every day. So I don't think many players take it very seriously. Now, Cush does have a very Marine type attitude, and he gets people that like to play that way, and there's only one boss in Baltimore, and as he mentioned, Marv, he said, listen, I like to get the freshmen, the first-year guys that know how to play my way. They'll teach the guys coming in next year my style, and then I won't have to go and impose all these rules and regulations, and it seems like he's kind of getting it that way right now, and he's got people that do it his way and do it pretty well.
Randy McMillan picked up 3 2nd and 7. You ever slapped around, John?
By a lot of defensive ends. And my wife.
I don't want to bring that up. Bernard Henry on the reception. Henry, a second-year man out of Arizona State. He caught 4 last week in the win over New England. But Barth with the indication. And again, a flag. So it's against the Colts.
False start, left side of the offensive line, still second down.
And it's a second down and 12. Back at the 41. Baltimore 3, Denver nothing. Just under 3 left in this first quarter. Ray Donaldson leading them up to the line. Booza is flanked wide to the left. McMillan and Dickey are the running backs. And that's Booza in motion. Nice catch by Bernard Henry for the first down. Hit out by Hart and Smith. Dennis Smith, the strong safety. Mike Hart, the right cornerback.
We have already heard that Bernard Henry has 4.4 speed. Who I didn't know he had this sort of flexibility to get both feet in the way he did, catch the ball, ran a nice pattern. 4.4 speed with that kind of athletic ability is very important. Let's take a wide look. You see they've got a 7-man front underneath of the linebackers. That's what Booz is trying to take with him. There wasn't a lot of room to put it in there, but Pagel did it.
Back to the live action. First down at the Denver 45. Here's McMillan. Could not make the turn. Randy McMillan, who has great power, enormous thighs on number 32, 6'1", 220 pounds. Randy McMillan forced out by Tom Jackson. Again, the crowd responding to the Oriole lead over the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or the use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Baltimore Colts and the National Football League is prohibited. Curtis Dickey to the 40-yard line. Redishar and Chavis combining on the tackle. Curtis Dickey is a guy with all the tools, speed and strength, all-pro potential. His toughness at times has been questioned.
Well, it wouldn't be questioned by me. I think sometimes that has to do with intensity, Marv. And you've heard a lot of statements that he's made, particularly involving Burt Jones when he was here. And I don't think he's ever totally been happy here. And we hear he's running out his option year, and he may or may not be around. That isn't the personality type that Cush is looking for. And the other back is. So time will tell.
Third down and 5. Pagel hit and fumbles. And the Baltimore Colts have coughed it up. Rulon Jones recovering the fumble. Good hit by Dennis Smith, the strong safety.
Well, look, I'll tell you who recovered the ball and Rulon Jones may have made the hit. But here's Hinton, the #1 draft choice that they got for John Elway. He was of some use there, 290 pounds, 6'5". But he doesn't run very well.
All right, Zach Thomas awaiting the punt. And a penalty marker is down.
Say, Baltimore may get to retain. No, it would still be 4th down and 6 yards to go, but we'll just wait.
Number 60, ineligible downfield on the kick. Penalty refused. First down.
And it was a 29-yard punt. And the penalty declined.
I'll tell you, Frank Cush is a little concerned right now. His team's leading 3-0, but he knows that his defense has stuffed the Denver offense, and they've kept them from getting any points, but they don't have any safety. They can't do anything offensively themselves, and they've been in real good field position to do so.
All right, the stats on John Elway. 36 seconds remaining, first quarter. Sammy Winder with a twisting run across the 30-yard line. Barry Krause and Larry Anderson combining. Steve Parker also involved. 5-yard advance, second down and 5. Clock running down in this first quarter with the Baltimore Colts leading at 3-0 on the 33-yard field goal by Raul Alegre. And they'll let it run down. So that is the end of one here in Baltimore. Welcome you back to Baltimore, Maryland. Crowd of 57,000 on hand, and that does not bode well for the Baltimore Colts.
No, it looks like Ray Butler is out for at least this ball game, and the early prognosis is that he has some sort of separation or dislocation there, and that means he'll be out for more than one ball game.
Second down and 5 for Denver at their 30. That's Watson in motion. Here's Winder. The 32-yard line. Sammy Winder in his second year out of Southern Mississippi.
They're playing an 8-man defense there up front, and it's very tough to move the ball along the ground when you've got a group they've got 4 linebackers, 3 down linemen, and a strong safety who's supporting from the inside out, which puts them with 8 people up there in front, and to try and beat that run, and it was very tough.
And they brought in Sanders Shiver as an extra linebacker. He made the stop on Winder, so it's a 3rd and 4 at the 31, and John Elway has not been able to get anything going to this point.
I'd throw a little swing pass, anything.
All right, here's Elway. Overthrew Winder, so Elway 0 for 4.
He had Winder wide open. The two of them are having a little trouble connecting with their communication is the only thing that's out. Look at Winder, 23 on the top left of your screen. He beats the linebacker so badly he's got nothing to do but run if John can get him the ball. This time it was all on Elway. They've got another turnover due to the fact that they can't communicate.
And this is Luke Prestridge.
That's a long word for pass and catch.
Yes, that's good, though. That captures it. Larry Anderson awaiting the punt.
Ooh.
Anderson to the 40. Again, nice return.
Fumble.
And a fumble. And let's see what the call is. Yes, it is recovered by Denver.
I don't know about that.
Now they say the other way. Wait a moment.
That was Burl Toller, and he was trying to put his arm straight up, but one of the Denver players wouldn't let him.
It's a 41-yard punt. Anderson returned at 17, and the Baltimore Colts did recover. So a timeout has been called. Minute gone by, second quarter, with Baltimore in front, 3-0.
Chevy Top Kids taking charge.
Marv Albert, John Brody from Baltimore. With a minute gone by, second quarter, the Colts lead it 3-0. And it's Baltimore first down at their 47. Hagel has it deflected. Randy Gradishar got a piece of it. So Hagel is now 3 for 7 on the day.
That's right, and we showed that shot of Ray Butler earlier. He is now stated to have a sprained shoulder, Marv, and here's a perfect example. Pagel is getting tougher and tougher to complete the ball in the middle of the field. You have to knock so many people down. That time the linemen were all taken care of, but Gradishar with his quickness got right in the path and kept the play from being completed.
It is a 2nd and 10. Play action, and Pagel throws the middle. Nice catch by Booza. Mark Booza in his second season from the University of California, hauled down by Steve Foley and Lewis Wright. They pick up 21 yards on the play.
And it's a perfect illustration. Bob Svensson, one of the top linebackers in this game. He's got his back to the quarterback now, but he's getting the path of Booza. He's trying to get in between the receiver and the quarterback. He does so, but Pagel puts it right between the numbers. Booza catches it on the dead run. It's a perfectly executed play. They pick up a first down, and they've got great field position.
Booza, one of those receivers, not fast, but excellent hands. First down at the 33 as Pagel runs for his life and runs it out. Wise move. Bryson Matter leading the pursuit.
And I'll tell you what, Lewis Wright knew he wasn't fooling anybody. He was just scrambling to the sideline, come back, and get a chance to play again. 2nd and 10 is okay.
That Baltimore offensive unit with Baldershire and Mills at the tackles, Hinton and Wright at the guards, and Donaldson the center. Chris Hinton, bothered by a knee injury suffered in preseason. 4th overall pick in the draft, originally by Denver, then involved in the trade for John Elway. Curtis Dickey off the slant, picks up short yardage.
You notice Pagel looking over to the sideline. He's looking over at Zeke Bratkowski, who is calling the offensive plays. Zeke looks like a third base coach. He's sweating. That's more action than he got as a player. Yeah.
Can you steal the sign there, John?
I'm not going to try. It seems like they're making it awfully complicated. You used to get in the huddle and say pattern 1, and everybody knew what to do, and you'd go out and play it, throw something up, and hope it stuck. Now they got it all figured out.
3rd down and 8. And Pagel is sacked. Bryson Matter on the blitz.
Oh, my. I'll tell you, there's a couple guys down. Oh, man, this is a bad break for Denver. They've got Bob Svensson with a knee down there on the ground. A man of his ability. He's the stalwart of their defense, and Pagel isn't getting up too quick. Boy, he took a couple of shots. I think that's Swenson.
Yes, it is. Bob Swenson, who's right back to his Pro Bowl form after the holdout of last season.
God, you just hate to see that.
Denver coming up with its 2nd sack of the day. And a timeout has been called. 3.5 gone by in the 2nd quarter.
17.
Today's game is being brought to you by Chevrolet. Chevrolet is taking charge. By Army, be all you can be. And by Valvoline, everything you need in a motor oil. Marv Albert, John Brody from Baltimore's Memorial Stadium on a very hot and humid day. Here's Ron Stark. Back to punt. Bob Swenson was able to walk off the field.
This is amazing. Okay, I'm not ready for that one. They have kept Denver in a hole for the whole game. They've kept them from being able to move at all offensively. They've got 15 yards to pick up on a fake punt. It isn't like they had 4 or 5 to go. I know they must have seen something in the film, and when it doesn't work, it makes you look silly. But this play doesn't look like it has enough design to it to where the pursuit couldn't have caught it anyway. And they haven't got a guy with great speed. I mean, Barry Krause isn't the #1 sprinter on this group. That play surprises me, and it gives a real shot in the arm to Denver.
So Denver able to take over on the fake that did not click. First down at the 41. That's Watson in motion. And there's the first completion. Rick Upchurch. So Elway with his first completion of the day, and Upchurch able to collect the first down. James Burrows, the left cornerback, on the stop.
They don't have to get any smarter than that either, Marv. They don't have to run through all their playbook to find out passes they can complete. Simple little hitch passes. Give it to the backs on a quickie. He's had Winder twice and missed him. This play is so easy to execute. You don't have to hear well. Go up the line of scrimmage, get the ball off on a quick count, let's move down the field. Sometimes we overcomplicate these things.
And it's a first down at the 48-yard line. Watson is left, Upchurch right. And they run out of the eye with Poole in front of Winder. This is Winder. And he took a hard hit.
Uh-oh. Donnell Thompson is hurt.
Jim Wright of Denver is down. Wright, the tight end, and that's you just saw Donnell Thompson. That's right.
He was a number 1 draft choice, number 99, Donnell Thompson. Whether or not we see it, I do not know, but I believe it's yes, sir. He got his elbow extended because Paul Howard was trying to block him. He got it hooked on the ball carrier, and I don't know how long that'll keep him out, but they are very painful.
There's Thompson, who is making it back from a severe knee injury suffered 2 years ago. Jim Wright still on the field. He is down. He had a sprained knee against Pittsburgh last week. In fact, he was called a probable for today. So Denver working on Wright.
It's the first time they've had a number that they haven't had old, Riley Odom's in there in a Denver lineup in so long, you almost took him for granted. Look at how hot that is.
Does that make you feel better, John?
I'll tell you what, I feel pretty good, but 102 that'll test you down on the field. That means it's got to be at least 110, 115.
It is a second down and 8 at the 46. Upchurch left and Watson right. And Egloff in a tight end. Here's Winder. Nice ball by Sammy Winder. Beautiful spin to collect additional yardage. James Burrows tripped him up.
That is what, now listen, it's a simple little play, but watch Elway. Comes back, he looks down the field. If you don't look down the field, you give where your target away. But he comes out to Winder, and he's got some room to run. Had he looked at his target a little earlier, the linebackers would have pursued. They'd have kept it to a 2-yard gain. He didn't. Winder was able to pick up the first.
So Elway is now 2 for 6 off those short flips, but he's picked up another first down at the Baltimore 36. Colts lead it 3-0. Early field goal by Allegre. Nathan Poole. Met by number 45, James Burrows.
I think they can file that pitch for the rest of the day. They're liable to run out of backs. They won't have a guy who'll be willing to run that play.
James Burrows, who had his ups and downs last season as a rookie, played well last week. yard loss by Denver. Second down and 11.
Greg Braceland, the kid from the University of California, was let go by the Raiders, has been a stalwart here, and he made a fine play then.
Braceland, originally a draft pick of the Denver Broncos.
Right.
Again, Rick Paris, as Elway went to the ground, and the Baltimore defense very aggressive, but that'll be marked where Paris's forward progress was stopped, but the crowd loves it.
They wouldn't let him fall. Sometimes you can't get to the ground. Hey, now it's those little passes to the outside. They've got 8 people in tight. They're not going to let Denver run the ball inside.
Paris did pick up 2. It's a third down and 9. And the ball spotted at the 35-yard line.
We've heard a lot about Rich Carlos. I think he may get his chance to kick a field goal because if they can just move it 4 or 5 yards, they've got it inside a 50-yarder.
Denver rushing for only 14 yards on 10 carries. And Elway out of a shotgun. And the play is whistled. Some angry Broncos and Colts bumping each other.
I think we've got a little. Listen, you can't hear very well, and I think it's another too much time, and that's one of the problems with calling them from the sideline. And then on top of that, the crowd noise. It's been tough, and it just keeps the confusion level very high.
Delay of game offense, still third down.
So another delay of game penalty against the Broncos.
Big 5 yards. I mean, Carlos still had a chance to kick it even 51 yards from there, but now they've got to pick up a completed pass. We've got 14 for a first down.
And the Broncos looking to do it right in the infield area of the baseball configuration here at Memorial Stadium.
Steve Watson hasn't had a ball thrown his way.
Elway stepping up and overthrows.
He was trying to get Watson.
Greg Braceland got a piece of it. And again, the crowd reacts to the Baltimore defensive effort as the Bronco drive has been stopped.
That was good linebacker play that time, Marv. You have that kind of reaction. I thought Elway had the ball right in the breadbasket for Watson, but Braceland broke it up.
Braceland, Cooks, Krause, and Maxwell, the Baltimore linebacking core. And Prestridge able to angle it out, does not allow a return.
Now the wheel has turned a bit, and it's all because of that 4th and 15 fake punt job. Now Baltimore's in a very bad position. They've got to come out of a hole, give Broncos a chance, and they will get in.
GCA, this is Army 212, 7 miles northwest, low fuel, heavy weather.
Army 212 radar contact, turn right heading 150.
With a fog-bound helicopter hanging on your every word, it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, only that you're good.
Slowly.
Roger.
Overlanding threshold.
Be all that you can be.
Thanks for your help.
Roger.
You can do it in the Army.
Mom, how come Jeffy Wilson gave me his rabbit?
Well, since Jeffy's dad died, they have to move to an apartment.
Do we have to move if something happens to our dad?
Oh, no, baby.
Allstate Update. Mortgage Protection Life Insurance.
With an Allstate Mortgage Protection Plan, it doesn't cost much to help make sure a paid-up house is there for your family, even if you aren't.
Don't worry, Mercy. You never have to move again.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Don't miss the very best in baseball. Eastern Division rivals square off. The Tigers battle Yaz and his youngsters from Boston. Or the Cardinals fly into Philadelphia to take on the Phillies. Only on NBC Sports.
John Elway off to a rough start, although has not had much help. There have been several that could have been caught, but still not looking sharp, coming off the 1-for-8 debut a week ago.
It'll probably get rocking, don't worry.
Off the Luke Prestridge punt that was angled out. It went 26 yards. The Colts start out. Curtis Dickey off the acceleration with a burst. Stopped by Rulon Jones. But a very impressive move by Dickey right near the first down marker.
Man that's that big with that kind of explosiveness is, I mean, I've got to give him the ball some. I think that's the second time he's carried it all during the ball game. I'm not sure. I know you've only got one ball. It's hard to give everybody a shot, but I'd give it to him some.
And he picked up the first down out of the 23. Again, it's Dickey. And that fumble after the play was blown dead. Busick and Wright coming up to make the stop.
Well, that's what I know. You can see it is no picnic in there close. There wasn't a hole. That time the secondary knew they were going to give it to Dickey also. Louis Wright right in there behind the line of scrimmage.
Curtis Dickey had a brutal first half last week against New England. 2 fumbles, called for a couple of penalties, but Push stayed with him. And he came through with a big second half. 2nd and 10 at the 23. Dickey coming around.
We've got a flag, Marv. So often happens on reverse flow plays.
And it's against Baltimore. It was Curtis Dickey on a reverse as he went right to left. And they're marking it off against the Colts.
I'm sure that Frank wants to know who that penalty was on.
Number 83 offense, holding, still second down.
If I were the official, I don't think I'd have told him the number.
Yes, Frank upset last week about several calls. That's Frank Kush in his second year as head coach of the Baltimore Colts. Spent 22 years at Arizona State.
One year they were 12-0, the only undefeated, really top quality team, and they were still only second in the country, and that got quite a bit of concern out in Arizona.
This is Zachary Dixon, a one-time Denver Bronco, hit out by Don Lattimer. So the holding penalty against the tight end Tim Sherwin, putting the Colts in a hole. Zachary Dixon, 3rd season with the Colts, 5th in the NFL. He's been a few places: Giants, Eagles, Broncos, drafted by Denver back in '79 on the 11th round.
He'll know a lot about structure, won't he, by the time he quits?
Organizational structure. Sir. Dixon started 3 games last year when Curtis Dickey had some difficulty. 3rd down at 18, back at the 15. Here's Hagel. Bernard Henry, but well short of the first down. Gradishar and Busick right there on the coverage.
Well, that's the tough way to pick up 7 or 8 yards, trying to beat Gradishar and Busick after you've caught the ball in the middle. That will test any receiver. If anybody had any concerns about Mr. Henry's durability, they found out there.
This time I have the idea Ron Stark will punt.
I think he'll punt this one.
And Rick Upchurch, who did not drop back for punts at all last week, is back now, and a beauty by Stark. Here's Upchurch, who led the NFL last year. Ricky Jones with the trip up of Upchurch.
All right, that shows you where they're coming from in Baltimore. This guy is a 7-year veteran. He had his job taken away. He's on special teams with that kind of hustle. That tells you they're on the move.
We are USA 1. Taking charge by unleashing a Chevrolet that...
And right here, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is Colorado's News Channel, Channel 4, KCNC, Denver.
Baltimore, Maryland, Marv Albert, John Brody, 58-yard punt by Ron Stark of the Colts. 6-yard return by Upchurch, and Elway on the Broncos. First down at the 30. Here's Elway with time. The home run ball for Upchurch. Broken up by Burrows.
That's all right. It's a good idea if it doesn't work. I just noticed John Hadle, the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, sitting down there looking at his playbook, trying to figure out a good play. I noticed he's now wearing glasses, as we all do as the years go by.
Yes.
I guess he pulled a long one out.
And that's the first time that Elway has attempted the bomb. He's now 2 for 8, 22 yards. John Elway, a pure passer out of that pro-style offense at Stanford, where he concluded his college career with a host of records, 5 all-time NCAA records, 9 Pac-10 records.
And nobody can hear if they're outside the guards right now. Donnell Thompson's back in the ball game.
Elway stepping up to throw, intended for Upchurch, covered by Derek Hatchett.
It's all right. If I'm Denver, I'm going to say, okay, we've made a commitment. Let's fire this ball around the infield a little bit. Their defense is such that they are not going to let us run consistently. We're not geared to run the ball effectively. So let's just put it on John's shoulders and see how he comes out. Now, I'll tell you, when he steps up, he knows that he's trying to get to his receiver after he's almost covered. Fires the ball maybe a little bit too hard. Anyway, it's an incompletion.
And it's a 3rd down and 10. The rookie out of South Carolina State, Zach Thomas, has come out as a 3rd wide receiver for Denver. Elway with time, and it's Steve Watson for the first down.
Whew. I'll tell you, you don't have to give him much room. That's what people are impressed with, is the arm on the man, and once he makes a decision to throw it, watch how fast it takes off. When that thing's gone, bap, you don't see anybody around Watson when he catches the ball. That's because the defense is given no indication where it's going until it's gone, and that's good for receivers.
And good for 15 yards and a first down at the 45-yard line. 5.5 left, first half. It's Baltimore 3 and Denver nothing. Second back, Sammy Winder. And Sammy Winder with a nice run. Sander Shiver on the tackle.
Just kind of wiggled his way through there. Last week, what did he get? 96 yards, something like that?
96 yards, 20 carries, including a short touchdown run.
I noticed Steve Watson helping out. When you find your receivers helping out your backs, those draw plays will work a lot better.
All right, the measurement. And a first down for Denver. What's your reaction to the reported pregame pep talk given by the Baltimore owner, Robert Irsay? Now, Irsay is not particularly well respected by his players. Do you think they'll take it seriously? He's trying to pump them up because he wants the Colts to have a particularly good game against Denver, against Elway.
It's pretty difficult for me to put any reality on the subject because I've never had an owner come into the locker room to give me a pep talk. I think it depends on who it is and what he says. I think Frank Cush handles that area pretty well himself and doesn't need any help. But I know this, they're playing very aggressively right now.
Hard a hand for Johnny Cooks, who was shaken up a moment ago. Johnny Cooks, last week, won it in overtime with the 52-yard fumble return touchdown. Second-year man out of Mississippi State. All right, that's next Sunday, starting at 12:30 Eastern Time. NFL 83 will get the day going with a look at Redskins quarterback Joe Theismann, and then regional action. We suggest you check your local listings for the game in your area. First and 10 at the 45. 81 Watson peeling off. A deep drop for the screen, overthrows Nathan Poole.
Hey, what John did, he got out of the area a little too quick, and he had a defensive end in his face, tried to go over the top, get it gone a little fast. He's generally an outstanding screen player. See, he set up, but he committed himself to the screen a little too fast. That allowed number 78 for the Colts, Steve Parker, to put his arms up, get in the way, and really defeat the screen.
All right, he has completed some nice passes since the bad start. You think he's still pressing?
No, he's ready to play right now, and you're taking a look at a kid that loves to play. He's been a little more effective.
Second down and 10. Church in the slot left. Quick opener for Winder. So Sammy Winder with another impressive move. Greg Braceland made that good low tackle. Later word on Bob Swenson, who was helped off earlier. It is a strained knee, so not as serious as first thought.
We see Winder. He's picking up the yards that they're giving him, and the defense is concerned right now with Elway throwing the ball. Once you get a defense concerned with what you're doing, you can go ahead and execute a lot of options, and that's what they've got Baltimore concerned with right now.
Third down and 2. And Winder is stopped. Ernie Barnes, number 95, led the defensive charge for Baltimore.
I don't know if they've got a special play, but I'll tell you what I do right now, Marv. If they have, and if I know Hadel, I'm sure they've worked something out. If there's a 4th and 1 situation where they're going for it, just send everybody right over the top of the right side. Little play action pass, put Steve Watson or whoever that man is tight, sliding through the defense, and you'll be standing all alone. I don't know if they'll call it. Takes a little moxie, but I think it's there right now.
So Denver, 4th down and 2 at the Baltimore 37.
What happened there? I think they're claiming that the right guard pulled the defense off, but I don't know if the officials saw it that way.
Well, the offside on the Colts. And so Denver has picked up the first down.
That's the sort of thing, it's the sort of mistake a young team will make and you don't want to make. Ernie Barnes that time thought he saw the right guard.
95 defense.
Pull him off sides. Well, so what? The situation's too tight. Just stay there and
Barnes is a rookie for Mississippi State. Timeout has been called. We'll be right back.
This is Len Berman in New York, and the Raiders are doing it to the Oilers. Greg Pruitt faked left, went right, clear sailing. That made it 13-0. It's now 13-3. Back to you, Marv.
Thank you, Len. Denver up to the line of scrimmage. And again, some confusion, and a timeout is called.
That's the 4th time there's been confusion in the communication between the offensive signal caller, the sideline, and the group. Now, it's tough enough to hear anything out there, but if you've got to condense it into simplicity, or you keep stopping yourself. Now, they had Baltimore on the run and a little bit concerned, but they didn't make the most of it, and they had to call a timeout that may stop their drive.
Reviewing the scoreboard, Pittsburgh defeating Green Bay 25-21. Buffalo over Cincinnati 10-6. Dallas big over St. Louis 34-17. Giants in overtime over Atlanta. Washington beat Philly 23-13.
Philly was moving the ball good. They just couldn't get it in.
First down at the 32 of Baltimore. Denver now has 1 timeout left. Baltimore 3. Sammy Winder. So Winder with the spinning move for short yardage. Two-yard advance, and it will be a 2nd down and 8. Last Sunday, the Denver Broncos beating Pittsburgh 14-10. Denver's defensive unit producing 7 turnovers, 3 interceptions, 4 fumble recoveries. In fact, a game that saw a total of 11 interceptions and fumbles. Weird game.
They're keeping this group in this ball game today also, Marv. But right now, the offense has had success going wide with short stuff. I see no reason for them not to continue.
2nd down 8 at the Baltimore 30. And Elway off the fake.
Look out, John.
So Elway met by Shivers. And Maxwell.
Sander Shiver almost had a head in his hand. He sure took his shot. Now he's a very aggressive linebacker. When you get a quarterback on the run, trying to make a good play out of a bad situation. Look at Shiver coming along. Good duck, big fella.
And with 2 minutes remaining in this first half, we get an official timeout call with the score. The Colts 3, the Broncos nothing. The preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. Baltimore Colts on a 33-yard field goal in the first quarter by Raul Alegre in front of the Denver Broncos, and pretty good football game for a 3-0 game.
It's as good as you'll find for 3-zip.
3rd down and 6 at the Baltimore 28. Elway. Dave Preston out of the backfield. And hit out by Vernon Maxwell. Short of the first down.
Now here's your decision. They've got 1.5 yards to go to get a first down. They went for it with 4th down and about 2 out there at the 40. This time they're sending in the field goal, and I agree with it. They've got to get some points on the board. Pretty good play. Dave Preston's a very reliable back, good receiver. Knew where that first down was, just couldn't get to it.
So Rich Carlos in his 2nd year out of Cincinnati last week hit both conversion attempts. Did not attempt a field goal. Steve DeBerg holding. It's a 43-yard attempt. And it's good. Carlos from 43 yards away has tied it at 3.
It's almost like we're playing up there in the mile-high air. That was good for about 62 if he cared to do it.
The Colts and the Broncos tied at 3. Rich Carlos signed as a free agent walk-on in a tryout camp last year that hit 11 of 13 field goal attempts. Upcoming at halftime, a look at the highlights of many of the earlier games, the 1 o'clock games on NFL 83. Next Saturday, 2 o'clock Eastern Time, the baseball game of the week here on NBC, featuring a National League East battle between the St. Louis Cardinals and Philadelphia Phillies, or in some areas, you'll see the Detroit Tigers taking on the Boston Red Sox. Check your local listings for the game in your area. And the kick by Carlos. Brings it for Larry Anderson. He'll stay right there. So they'll bring it out to the 20 with 1:51 remaining in this first half. Frank Kush, a defensive lineman at Michigan State, earned All-American honors, even though he weighed only 175 pounds at the time.
Yep. Listen, Frank Kush is a very involved individual, and he's a good leader. I mean, he does things his way, and he's one of those that'll take responsibility for things. And that's needed as a football coach.
1st and 10 for the 20, and Pagel goes sideline. Intended for Bernard Henry.
You get the feeling that Baltimore has lost the edge that they had early in the game. They had a few things go their way. They got 3 points early. They had a chance to jump on a couple more scores with good field position. Let them get away. I get the feeling that the flow has swung in the other direction right now, and it's hard for that defense to keep Denver in check the way they have for the rest of the ball game.
No question, they were particularly churned up in the first quarter. There's Pagel moving toward the sideline as the Colts have called for time with 1:48 remaining in the first half.
He's limping. I mean,
he was favoring it. Mike Pagel, a pleasant surprise last year, won the starting job from Art Schlichter and completed 50% of his passes, intercepted only 7 times. This year in a battle with the former Denver Bronco, Mark Herman, who was acquired in the Elway trade. Mark also at first not pleased about coming here to Baltimore, but Herman is out with a broken collarbone at least 6 weeks.
And that gives Pagel a chance to jump up and take the lead in the battle between the two of them. I think Mark Herman came out of college as fine a young quarterback as there had been. in the last few years. He did not get a chance to play in Denver due to Craig Morton maintaining that position for a long time, but I think it was a real good break for Mark to come down here, and sometimes you're a little reluctant to make it. But he should get an opportunity to play, but this young man can get a big edge if he can come on and play the way he did at Arizona State.
It'll be a 2nd and 10 for the Colts. They're back at their 20-yard line. A minute and 48. Remaining first half. We're tied at 3.
Haven't even heard Steve Foley's name mentioned all day. That shows you they're not trying anything down the middle.
On the draw, McMillan. To wrestle him out of bounds after McMillan broke a tackle, a 34-yard run.
Now they're going back, huh? He stepped out of bounds. I guess he was forced by Steve Foley. I'd mentioned we hadn't heard his name all day. The next play, he's trying to make the tackle. Finally did push McMillan out.
So it is spotted at the 40. Nice pickup still for McMillan, who has run for 56 yards on 7 carries. There's the point he stepped out. And here's Pagel on first down. Penalty marker throw. The receiver out there was 88, Bernard Henry, but he was well covered.
The receiver, the closest one to it was number 90, Jose Taylor, standing on the sideline, as I don't think there really was anybody in a position to catch it, and I think Pagel was just firing it away.
Illegal use of the hands, 73 offense, still first down.
This is where, Marv, if you try to get too greedy, a Denver defense, which has been so opportunistic over the years, is more liable to make a big play, get a turnover, get themselves some points before the end of the half. I'm not sure I'd try to go down the field right now.
Steve Wright, the right guard, called on the penalty. First and 20 off the screen, McMillan. And McMillan has popped out of bounds. Dennis Smith and Lewis Wright combining. We're down to 1:27 remaining.
But a very good play call. It's a good call. It's a safe play. It gives you a chance to complete one ball of 10 or 11 yards, pick up your first down, continue on with your drive. They've got 1 minute and 27 seconds left, so they still have a chance.
Well, that's McMillan moving over to the sideline as Frank Cush is doing some shuffling in the backfield. Now has Curtis Dickey combining with Newton Williams. Williams, the fullback, second year out of Arizona State, in there for blocking reasons. Curtis Dickey. Awesome, beautiful open field move. 27-yard pass play.
That was all made possible by Pagel putting his eye down the field. It's a one-on-one situation. Dickey one-on-one with the linebacker, number 50, Jim Ryan. It's very hard for a linebacker to stay with a good offensive back. Forces Harden to try and make the play, runs through his tackle, picks up a first on the inside the 35, and that's a well-conceived play.
And the 2-minute offense of the Baltimore Colts moving downfield very crisply. First down at the 33, minute 13 remaining, and a timeout is called by Baltimore. Brought up the point of the Denver defense, which isn't what it once was, although they did have that good game against Pittsburgh last week, but they're looking to bounce back from finishing 24th in the NFL a year ago.
Well, that's right. They're counting a lot on John to bring them somewhere. They figure if he can't do it, we won't get it done. But on the other side here, Frank Cush, they called timeout. Now I think they're down to one left. But it's funny, in the past, you'd get a big completion. That's the time everybody wants to jump up on the line of scrimmage, get another play called, we've got them on the run, and do something. I've noticed time and again today that when something just seems to be breaking, there's a timeout call. And all the momentum that you've gathered and all the all the flow it disappears.
Denver waited too long to make changes defensively.
No, they're a good defense. They're a super defense. I don't think they've waited too long.
First down at the 33-yard line. And Pagel, oh, what a catch.
Yeah, but I think...
And it was picked away by Lewis Wright. Lewis Wright trying to lateral and gang tackle.
Well, I'll tell you what he did. He took it away from him. Actually, they both had control of the ball, but before the receiver hit the ground, Louis Wright had the ball in his hands. And they ought to give him a steal for that. Yes. That's not an interception. Look at this. You can see the receiver has it. It's kind of falling away. Wright catches it just before it hits the ground. Well, that official's in a perfect position to see it. So if it had hit the ground, I'm sure he wouldn't have given it to him. And he did.
Bernard Henry, number 88. With the leaping attempt and then stripped by Wright. He had a notion to hand it off. He was about to hand off to Steve Foley. So Louis Wright, who picked one off against Pittsburgh last week in a different manner. This, as you say, more of a steal, and Denver takes over. Back at their 15, a minute left in the first half. We're tied at 3. Here's Winder. Good hold. Sammy Winder out across the 30-yard line for the first down.
They call a timeout. They've got none left, but they can go back. Now, this is the time when really they can't send anything in. So we're going to see what happens. They've got only enough time to get about 3 plays going. Every team has a 2-minute drill, and I'm sure they'll go in, and with no timeouts, they can't send in any information. Maybe you'll hit a couple and kick 3. Who knows?
It has been a very impressive first half for Sammy Winder. 48 yards, 12 carries.
And you can tell now what Dan is discussing with John is what plays do we have time to call. You notice he's looking right at the clock. 51 seconds. The confusion they had during the first and second quarter has kept them from being able to control the ball and the clock because they don't have any timeouts now. And this has happened a lot to Denver, and I think it's hurt their offense consistently over the past couple of years. And I expect it to change because Dan is not he's a very bright guy, and he knows when things are going wrong, we've got to do something to change it. He's going to have to improve their communication system.
Dan Reeves, third-year head coach of the Broncos. Denver went 10-6 in his rookie season, but last year on the strike-shortened campaign, Broncos dropping to 2-7, looking to turn it back the other way. All right, the Broncos. First down at their 30-yard line. Studdard, Bishop, Bryant, Howard, Lanier up front. Watson to the right, Upchurch in the slot. Winder and Paros are the running backs. Off the play action. The screen for Rick Paros.
Oh my goodness.
And Leo Wisniewski on the stop.
You don't find many nose tackles that are that mobile. Marv, he got stopped at the line of scrimmage, but he saw the play very swiftly. Good lateral pursuit. Had he not, it would have been good for about 15.
Hurry up offense, 4-yard pickup, and here's Elway with time. Going sideline, Watson not able to hold on. Watson was wide open. He got behind Derek Hatchett.
The problem being John did not see him until he almost had thrown the ball in another area. Then he got just at the last second, he saw him out there. Would have been a superb catch, but it's the kind of catch that Steve Watson has made over the past several years to keep drives alive.
And down to 18 seconds remaining.
They've got time, Marv, to throw one ball down the field. And if it is complete, come back, throw a ball out of bounds, and kick a field goal. That's all they have time to do. They have no timeouts left.
And Carlos did hit from 43 yards out a couple moments back. Right. Elway is 5 for 14, 44 yards. Deflected and incomplete. John Elway looking to throw a bullet, looking to drill it.
Credit the defense. Good D by both sides in the first half. They had better punt, but this is John with excellent pass protection. I think one of the concerns is how good is our pass protection going to be. Steve Parker got his hand into things and fouled him up again for Elway, but
so it's Luke Pressbridge back at his 20. And Larry Anderson is back. 10-man rush. And again, Pressbridge angling. Here's Anderson. 15-20. And we're down to 2 seconds remaining of the half. Anderson run out by Jim Wright. 52-yard punt. Both punters have been booming them today.
There's two excellent punters, and that has a lot to do with the score being 3-3. You keep a team from getting good field position, and the only mistake that I believe Baltimore made is that 4th down fake punt. Other than that, they'd have given them the donut.
Yes, the attempt by Barry Krause that went nowhere. So 2 seconds remaining in the half. Baltimore at their 26-yard line, and Pagel will just run it out. And that's the end of the first half here at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. With the score, the Denver Broncos 3 and the Baltimore Colts 3. We'll be back in a moment. John Brody, and Denver and Baltimore are tied at 3 off a 33-yard field goal in the first quarter by Raul Alegre of the Colts, and a 43-yard field goal in the second quarter by Rich Carlos of Denver. It has been a hard-hitting game. John Elway has certainly heard the boos from the crowd. Elway, off to a rugged start, has shown some signs. Did show signs in the second quarter. Overall in the half, he is 5 for 15, 44 yards. He was sacked one time. The big man offensively for Denver has been Sammy Wider. He had a terrific first half, coming off the 96-yard performance last week against Pittsburgh.
I think, Marv, you're going to see that Dan Reeves is going to come back with Elway. There was some discussion up here in the press room. Well, DeBerg came on late last week and got him a touchdown to win the ball game against Pittsburgh. But I think Dan Reeves has made up his mind. Elway's his quarterback. Last week, Elway got hurt. His throwing arm was hitting the elbow. But I think in the second quarter, he played pretty well individually. Collectively, as a group, they made the little mistakes that kept them off the scoreboard. But I think John's starting to get relaxed, and he's playing against a very inspired, tough defensive group of players in Baltimore.
And for Baltimore, Randy McMillan rushed for 56 yards on 7 carries in the first half. Curtis Dickey only 14 yards, 6 carries. Winder had 48 yards, 12 carries. And the kickoff by Carlos. So Kendall Williams decides to stay right there. Kendall Williams in his first year out of Arizona State. So that'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. And Baltimore 1st and 10 as we get underway in this second half. The Baltimore Colts with Carl Walderschweiler and Jim Mills at the tackles. Chris Hinton, rookie out of Northwestern, #1 picked originally by Denver. At left guard, Steve Wright, acquired from Dallas only 2 weeks ago, and stepped in as a starter last week at right guard. Ray Donaldson centering for Mike Pagel. Long count. And McMillan for the short pickup. Crowd of 51,482, so they're about 6,000 short of a sellout, but they sold 30,000 tickets during the course of the week, and that is really a high figure.
That was a very big win that they placed on New England's shoulders last week. It kind of renewed the enthusiasm for the whole group. I remember Baltimore as the loudest, most enthusiastic group in the National Football League, and it's been a few years since that's been true.
2nd down and 7. Curtis Dickey off the stutter step and the fumble.
Nope, they retained possession.
Mike Harden tried to gobble up the roller but knocked it out of bounds, and as a result, the Colts will maintain possession.
Well, the big hit was by Dennis Smith, the former USC defensive back. So when this ball is fumbled, he tries to pick it up on the run. When he does so, he actually hits it and loses control of it. In doing so, that thing is on its way to the sideline. Harden tried to save it before it went out, could not do so. That was a very nice pickup. Yes.
So Curtis Dickey with the run and the fumble, which Baltimore is able to retain for the first down at the Baltimore 42. And here's McMillan. 3-yard advance across the 45. The free safety, Steve Foley, was there to make the stop.
Boy, I'll tell you, that's no fun trying to handle him when he's got a full head of steam. As we look at the stats, they really indicate the way the game has gone. The Colts have 154 total yards, but the game was just about even. When Baltimore didn't capitalize on the good field position they had in the first quarter and the early part of the second, not much offense has happened.
And this crowd alive earlier, you mentioned they are, at one time they were the loudest crowd in the NFL, but lost their enthusiasm in the second quarter. Here's McMillan.
They're getting it back now. And remember, it's 102 degrees. You can only yell so long in that kind of heat.
Barney Chavis, Rulon Jones stopping McMillan, but he picked up the first down. So the Colts first down at the Denver 47-yard line.
We've noticed that Bob Swenson is not back in the game. Jim Ryan has taken his place, number 50.
Ryan with Busick, Gradishar, and Jackson. Curtis Dickey again ripping it off for another first down. Steve Foley on the tackle.
Tell you, their inside guard and center, that Hinton, number 75, has made some superb blocks to allow Dickey to get through the hole. They're doing it against two very tough nose tackles too. When you take a look, and you get guys the likes of Don Latimer and Reuben Carter, you're moving somebody around.
First down at the 37. As Dickey picked up 11. Now the Colts running well. This time Newton Williams out of the fullback slot. He's out of Arizona State in his second year. Had a strong final preseason game against Atlanta. Gradishar and Chavis stopping Williams.
I get the feeling Pagel's looking at the sideline, rooting for him to hurry up, send in the play, send in something. Let's keep going. We've got him on the run. Don't let him regather.
Pagel and the Colts have a second down and 4. 3.5 gone by. Third quarter. We're tied at 3. Second back coming through, Alvin Moore. First time he has touched the ball today. 7th round draft pick, rookie from Arizona State. Gradishar on the stop along with Ryan.
You know, the impressive thing to me as we see Alvin Moore, they have 6 free agents on Baltimore's 49-man squad, and they also have 6 free agents on the other side of the field. Now, that's an awful lot of people that weren't drafted, that are rookies, that are playing.
Last year, Frank Kush went through 147 players in all. He took quick looks. Third down and 3 at the 30. Flag is down.
Steve Wright, number 73, was caught for holding on Tom Jackson, and that's exactly what he did. He just ran over the top of him, tackled him. And that's the reason the play broke also. You can see it. Sometimes these plays are not at the point of attack, as we see the official showing Gradishar what actually happened. That one was at the point of attack.
Number 73 holding on an arm lock.
Well, there is a descriptive interpretation by Gene Barth.
Yeah, here you go. You see more now. Look at this. You get to see it pretty clean. Step over toe hold.
Steve Wright acquired from Dallas just 2 weeks ago, and then stepped in, took over the starting job at right guard. Called for the hold. Colts Colts are hit with their 6th penalty for 50 yards. You can see the differential there. So it's a 3rd down and 13 back at the 40.
They're coming after him.
And it's picked off by Steve Foley.
They haven't got it yet. Now they do. Harden finally got they tried to lateral it to Harden. He couldn't handle it, but he did pick it up before the ball went out of bounds. That was an exceptional interception. You just very seldom see a fellow with quick enough reflexes. Pagel does a good job of getting out of trouble, but when he throws it right to Foley. I know the most surprised man in the house had to be Steve, but he did have the presence of mind to keep it.
It has been an elusive football. Denver had that wild game last week against Pittsburgh. And now the Broncos, off the intercept by Foley, take over. They'll go back to the offense. Interception by Steve Foley. You saw the turnover situation last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Denver has picked off 2 today, Steve Wright and Steve Foley. And the Broncos take over 1st down at their 47-yard line. Reverse. This is Rick Upchurch. So the reverse does not work. Paros to Upchurch, a very short pickup.
Johnny
Graceland right there.
Johnny Cooks was just too quick, did not let the play get started. Had he not been in the position he was, it would have gone for big yardage, but maybe that's why he was a #1 draft choice. You take a guy that's got this kind of mobility and he's smart enough to stay where his responsibility lies. You see, number 98. Big, strong, fast linebacker. Makes a fine play.
Cooks slowing him down, and then Bracelet on the cover-up. 2nd down and 8. And Elway hearing it from the crowd again. Here's Winder. Nice change of direction to get to midfield. Sammy Winder stopped by Cooks. Eric Krause, Donnell Thompson also involved in the action. And it will be a 3rd down and 7. Denver lining up with Studdard and Lanier at the tackles, Bishop and Howard the guards, Bryan the center. And they go with the extra wide receiver, inserting the rookie from San Diego State, Clint Sampson. Sampson, number 84, flanked to the right. And Elway out of the shotgun. Oh! Elway locked by Vernon Maxwell.
Hey, I was just going to mention, that's his 2nd, and I'll tell you another thing. He is so fast. He got to John before he could even see him. He was down low. He beat his blocker. John had his attention down the field. And if you're going to, you see 56 as Vernon Maxwell goes right over the back trying to block him. Catches John before he can do anything. Puts him on the floor. Remember, they've got 4 first-round draft choices playing defense for the Colts. And Vernon Maxwell should have been a first. So, I mean, they've got a lot of talent.
And this is only the 2nd week of the season already. The Baltimore Colts pumping Maxwell for Defensive Rookie of the Year honors. This is Larry Anderson playing the Luke Prestridge punt.
Rob Lytle makes a play.
Rob Lytle, always outstanding on special teams, although he is shaken up.
Oh, he hurt his wrist or his shoulder. It's in that left arm somewhere.
46-yard punt by Prestridge. Lytle on the coverage, allowing for only a 2-yard return by Anderson. A timeout with 8:20 left in the 3rd quarter.
There's only... Here's a man, 41, Rob Lytle, was a great running back at the University of Michigan, has been an all-purpose football player for the Denver Broncos. He's not starting, he's not doing a lot of playing, but a guy that's a football player will play where you put him. Perfect on special teams, comes down and makes a great play to get him in a bad field position, but he did get hurt.
And Baltimore 1st down at their 14-yard line. This is McMillan. Again, pulling his way off the left side. Randy McMillan in his 3rd season out of the University of Pittsburgh, stopped by the combination of Rulon Jones and Jim Ryan. Right here, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is Colorado's News Channel, Channel 4, KCNC, Denver.
A Along with John Brody, this is Marv Albert. 102 degrees at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. We're tied at 3. 7:45 remaining. Third quarter. Now the Colts on the offense. Second down and 5. Curtis Dickey. A rolling dervish, but cannot elude the Denver defense. They're tackling each other on defense.
Jim Ryan wants to get a piece of something. He got 2 of his own and a little bit of the runner.
Rulon Jones, Steve Busick making the stop on Dickey. Randy McMillan now has 68 yards, 10 carries. Curtis Dickey coming alive in this third quarter after the slow start in the first half. Dickey, number 33, moving up to the line. 4th season, Texas A&M. Third down and 8. Back at the Colt 15. And Pagel, he was looking for the tight end, changed his mind. And then tried to hit McMillan out of the backfield. He was covered by Jim Ryan.
Yeah, he changed his mind because he couldn't find him. And it's good defensive play, but neither offense has been able to create anything or make something happen. The one long run by Moore, which looked like a touchdown, they got started early, but they really haven't created anything offensively. We just heard also that Rob Lytle has a dislocated left shoulder. It didn't look good when you saw him, but that's bad news.
And Ron Stark, who has been really booming them with another good one. Zach Thomas, the rookie, South Carolina State, to the 25.
He's going.
Zach Thomas, midfield. So Thomas hauled down by backup tight end Pat Beach. But a beautiful return, a 61-yard punt by Stark, and it's returned for 26 yards by Thomas. Marv Albert, John Brody from Baltimore, Maryland, and yes, it is a hot day here.
It's very
in
warm.
Baltimore.
It's not a coat day.
No, 102 degrees at least, and on the field what?
It's warm for us, but it's got to be 105 to 110. I'm a little surprised they haven't substituted more than they have. And I have to credit Baltimore's defense. Most of their players have gone all the way, and it is hot.
All right, first down at the 47-yard line. White on a reverse. And it was coughed up by Watson. Let's see. The Baltimore Colts have recovered. The double reverse. Steve Watson fumbling on the play. Both coaches have been going for the trick plays here today, and they have not worked.
This one was going to be a little flea flicker where Watson was going to throw the ball back to Elway, and he had a receiver down the field. But a great play by Wisniewski, kept the thing short, never let it develop. This guy's made about 4 plays as a nose tackle that have been big.
So a timeout has been called with 6.5 left in the third quarter.
We are an explorer, a farmer, a miner, and an insurance company. We're a pipeline, a truck line, a gold mine, and a leasing company. We're a builder, a printer, a logger, and an energy company. We are more than 41,000 men and women working in 18 different industries all across America. We are Southern Pacific. We also run a railroad.
Off the recovery by the rookie out of Northwestern, Steve Parker. Baltimore Colts take over. 1st and 10 at the Denver 39. We're tied at 3. 6.5 left, third quarter. Here's Dickey. Curtis Dickey picking up a couple. It'll set up a second down and 8. Lewis Wright, Steve Busick making the stop. The Baltimore Colts home opener Baltimore and Denver meet again in Denver, December 11th. Last week, the Colts with their first victory since 1981. Remember, they went 0-8-1 last season.
Do you get the feeling this is one of those games like they played when they had the checkered squares on the field where you had to throw in the checkered square?
Out here is Randy McMillan. Wait a second, John. Would you explain that?
Well, we've got a 3rd and 4. They get a turnover and they run the ball the same way they've been doing. And if one thing Denver is good at, it's stuffing people at the line of scrimmage. Now, I know Baltimore's good, but Pagel's thrown the ball very well when given an opportunity. He had one that Butler dropped. There was a sure long gainer. He threw another ball just before the half down that got stolen. But Pagel's been firing the ball well, and I haven't seen him throw it that much.
Well, he has a 3rd down and 4 at the Denver 33. And Pagel on the run, chased by Rulon Jones, and he had to dish it off.
I don't blame him.
Number 75, Rulon Jones, chasing him down.
He took the best of some very bad options.
Yes. John, are we seeing superb defense on both sides?
We're seeing both.
Poor offense.
I really think when it's this warm and you got receivers that are that warm, you've got to get the ball up and down the field. You've got to take your chances. We have not seen anybody try to extend the defenses. A little before the half, Elway threw one down to Upchurch. Other than that, we haven't seen the ball go over 30 yards.
And Ron Stark to punt at midfield. Looking to angle.
Look at this.
It's not what he had in mind. And a penalty marker down. He was trying to angle it. That is not where he wanted to place it.
But it was well punted, Marv. If the coverage had been in the proper space and the kick was, and he didn't get a bad bounce, he'd have had it inside the 5.
And someone downfield too quickly. Here's Gene Barth.
Number 29, ineligible, downfield, illegally on a kick, penalty refused, 1st down.
So number 29 for the Baltimore Colts, Mark Kofensis, a recent pickup signed on Wednesday after the Cleveland Browns cut him, signed to replace the injured Jeff Delaney. Delaney out of action. That's why Larry Anderson is starting at the strong safety. 1st down at the 20-yard line for John Elway and his Denver Broncos. Sammy Winder stopped by Steve Parker, number 78. Steve Parker starting the game.
Well, Steve Parker, this is a lineman's dream defensively because they're all standing up, taking their best shots at the offense. Both defensive lines seem to be getting the better of the offensive lines at this point. And both teams are reluctant to throw, so it's tee off and get the guy with the ball. I'm looking out here for a reason, and Rick Upchurch is one-on-one with James Burrows, and if they want to come out here, they can.
Loss of 3 off the tackle by Parker, who was a surprise starter today. 2nd and 13. Oh, get him. And Elway throwing one in the crowd. Watson able to play the deflection for the 1st down.
Now that's a nice little deal. He threw it right into the crowd, 3 defenders. But Watson, keeping his eye on the ball, picked up the deflection. That's what you call good old-fashioned luck. Try that again and you'll go broke. John comes out. He's only got 1 receiver to throw to. He's a little frustrated. Puts a ball that he should never throw right in number 45's arms. James Burrows lets it go up, tips it to Watson. They've got a 1st down, and all sorts of good things happen when you throw it.
2nd catch of the day for Watson. Elway is now 6 for 16. 58 yards. 1st down at the Denver 31. Big rush for Elway. The screen for Paros. Rick Paros, 1st down and more. Across the 45-yard line. Kim Anderson banging him out of bounds.
It's taken advantage of a real good pass rush. We saw Wisniewski smell it out the screen prior, but this time Wisniewski was in the pass rush along with the defensive lineman. John's going to learn how to set up just a little longer. Then it'll really break free for him.
Dan Reeves mentioned during the course of the week he felt Elway was kind of drifting out of the pocket on the setup.
You do that because he's accustomed to people, to having a little more time. He's probably not as accustomed to the size of the people that he's seeing. There's a comfort zone that you have to find in this game, and that's what he's going to find playing.
First down at the 46. Oh, Elway sacked. The blitz by Barry Krause. What a move.
They fooled him, and when you make a good play, that's what happens. Barry Krause came late. You can see he ran in right between guard and center. Elway's not supposed to be responsible to get him picked up. That's a guard-center decision. They didn't make it properly, and he lands on his can.
Third sack of the day by Baltimore was Newski, Maxwell, and now Krause.
They didn't give him a sack there, Marv, because he threw the ball incomplete. I think they brought it back to the line of scrimmage.
You're right. It's a 2nd and 10. Subtract the Krause sack. 2nd down and 10 at the 46. It was ruled an incompletion. And Elway going sideline for Parros.
I'm seeing John do things that I haven't seen him do, and I've watched him play 5 years. That time he took 2 steps before he threw the ball. That's it. He's forcing it, and he doesn't have to do that. His arm's strong enough. He doesn't have to take 2 steps before he lets go of the ball. He's going to knock his receivers down. Obviously, when you're real anxious to do well, sometimes you do things you shouldn't, and he does it right here. Watch when he sets up. He's real strong. All he has to do is let go of the ball. Come on. Nope, he fires it in there, throws it a little high.
And you see the receivers in this wide shot as Watson flanked to the left.
Barry Coyle is down there. He loves the wide shot. I do, too. We'll be able to see it.
Elway being chased by Thompson. Elway unleashing and completing for a long gainer for Steve Watson. So Watson and Elway beginning to get unsynced. Derek Hatchett covering on the play.
That's a superb play. Now, John made 2 bad plays earlier. He threw the ball high. He threw a ball where he shouldn't have thrown it, and Watson came up with a fine play. But take a look at the coverage. They've got a man-to-man coverage, no free safety. Watson's coming down, looking like he's forcing himself into the middle. He gets the back off of him, comes back. Elway gets out of the pocket in the meantime, finds him, and has an arm strong enough to hit him. That is a rare ability.
And it's good for 31 yards. 1st and 10 for the Denver Broncos at the Baltimore Colts 23. And here's Steve DeBerg taking over.
There's a helmet problem down there with Elway. I don't know exactly what it is, but
so DeBerg has come on in the midst of this drive.
Or they may have a special play. Look out.
And the whistle blows the play dead. The Baltimore Colts were looking for the continuation off the hit by Vernon Maxwell.
Vernon Maxwell better watch it. He gets too wild around that official. They'll put 15 on him, and then he will be in hot water. They thought that right there, they thought they picked the ball off, but it was called dead, or it would have been a pick-off. You see, Braceland gets it before it hits the ground, but they called the ball dead before he fumbled it.
We just received a report that they're working on the right arm of John Elway.
Well, he probably has. He has that bursa sack, and last week he fell on it, and it jumped up the size of a football. We'll have to take a look, see what happened to it today, but I got the feeling he'll be right back in there.
Mike DeBerg took over for Elway in the 2nd half last week. Penalty marker down as DeBerg goes deep. And it is broken up by Derek Hatchett, the right cornerback. But a penalty marker is down.
What's that, defensive holding?
The call against the Colts. Last week, DeBerg came on, went 4 of 8, only 35 yards, but 1 touchdown.
97 defense, offside.
Oh, the offside on Quentin Ballard.
They're all trying to get there so fast, sometimes you take a little edge.
Out of the rookie out of Elon College. John Elway now warming up along sideline. 2nd and 17 for DeBerg. Goes the middle. So completes with the Maxwell again, covering Winder on the play. There's Elway. And he's testing it out.
I'll tell you one thing that's not fun is having some kind of an arm pad on your throwing arm. It's just kind of bothersome. I don't know how badly it was hurt, but it must be hurt too bad or he'd be in there.
Elway 8 for 20, 105 yards. 3rd down, 11. Out of the Baltimore 24, a lot of movement.
I think they got the quarterback for humping his shoulder pads, and that's an intentional pulling him offside. You see that little cord going back down the helmet of DeBerg? That's a device to allow, it's a loudspeaking system. And his voice, he lost his voice by getting hit in the larynx, and so he uses it.
Illegal movement by the quarterback with the shoulders.
Maybe he's talking with his shoulders now. His voice is gone. Anyway, he's going to have to do it from 5 yards further back.
That's an extension of trying to bring the defense offside. Usually you do it on the cadence.
Well, you do it any way you can if you don't get caught, but if you do it 5.
Saw the shoulder movement by DeBerg. 3rd down, 16 at the 30. And DeBerg going long. Picked up. Derek Hatchett on the intercept. And Hatchett all down inside the 15-yard line by Steve Watson, the intended receiver.
That's a throw that he would like to have back. I know Steve DeBerg's trying to make something happen in his sparse playing time, but in a game that's 3-3, you're in field goal position. It's 3rd down. You've got 16 yards to go. The chance of making the completion is kind of slight. If he's open, hit him. But if he's not, get that thing up in the cheap seats. And if you're a quarterback coach or anybody, you don't want to throw the ball in the middle of the field where you have very little chance of making the completion.
Timeout with 40 seconds remaining in this 3rd quarter. Score remains tied at 3.
The proven
back in Baltimore off the interception by Derek Hatchett. The Colts 1st down at their 13-yard line. Only 40 seconds left, 3rd quarter. We're tied at 3. Curtis Dickey accelerating and able to wrestle right near that 1st down marker. Lewis Wright on the tackle, but Curtis Dickey with a good move. And a penalty marker thrown.
Hey, the Colts haven't had the best of that penalty situation. Every time they make something happen, they get penalized. You say, well, it's indicative of a young team, but the discipline of Cush, I expect to be good enough to override that. And they've made penalties in key situations that have hurt them.
And he was unhappy earlier about some calls.
32 offense, holding, still 1st down.
The fullback, Randy McMillan, called for the hold. Last year, Frank Cush told people he felt there were only 8 or 9 NFL quality people on the Colt roster. He says things are turning.
Yeah, they sure are. I can see 8 on offense.
A handoff for McMillan.
Rulon Jones, number 75, and the other number 75, Chris Hinton, number 1 draft choice, had a little go at each other. Jones claimed a foul, didn't get it.
Now that's the time running down 3rd quarter. A 2nd and 11 is coming up for the Baltimore Colts. But that is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score, Denver 3 and Baltimore 3. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Wednesday, be there.
Broncos.
Today's game is being brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth, cars engineered for luxury, quality, and value. By Southern Pacific, 41,000 people working in 18 industries all across America. And by AT&T, expanding your ability to communicate through the most powerful communication network in the world. Marv Albert with John Brody from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. 3 points apiece. 33-yard field goal by Allegre of the Colts first quarter. 43-yarder by Carlos of the Broncos in the second. And that has been it as we get underway. Fourth quarter. And Pagel with the bullet pass. Intended for Matt Boozer. Well covered by Lewis Wright.
Lewis Wright can cover. I know he can cover one like a blanket, but he may be able to handle two. When you do that rollout stuff, you're taking half of the field away from yourself, and your options diminish a lot. I know sometimes it gets you away from a good pass rush, but the only option he had right then was to be able to hit Boozer, and it was a tough throw.
Fourth quarter at Shea. Seattle looking to continue their mastery over the New York Jets. Raiders in front of Houston out in L.A. in the fourth quarter. Miami leading New England in the fourth. Third down, 11 for Pagel. Curtis Dickey on the completion, but well short of the first down. Roger Jackson, the nickelback, covering. And a flag down, a hold against Baltimore.
No, they're not going to take that penalty. They get a chance for a change of possession. That'll be fourth down. And good field position, but Ron Stark has kicked them out of there a couple times.
Holding 64 offense, penalty refused, fourth down.
All right, Ben Hutt called for the hold, which obviously has been declined. And Ron Stark from his end zone.
You talk about respect. Take a look down the field and watch where Zach Thomas is. He's on the 32-yard line. That's 60 yards away.
Zach Thomas up toward midfield, and that's it. Yes, Stark has connected on two earlier punts for 60-plus. This one goes 52. 8-yard return. And when we come back, it'll be Denver back on offense.
Colt
Farway is back in at quarterback, forced to leave as that elbow was bothering him once again. So DeBerg came out, and then DeBerg was intercepted to stop the Denver drive. And Elway hears it from the crowd as he takes over first down at the Denver 48. Opening minute, fourth quarter.
May help him not to be quite as strong with his arm.
Upchurch. Nice move by Upchurch, but only short yardage. Fidel Thompson running about. There's Thompson, number 99. Now Nathan Poole has come in at running back to combine with Sammy Winder. Elway in his debut last week, only 1 out of 8. Sacked 4 times, intercepted once. Has shown some signs here today in the third quarter.
I don't think we have to worry about that. What we haven't seen him do is know enough about the offense to be able to hit people in between seams down the field. He's thrown the ball laterally well, a few screens, but he hasn't done much with his wide guys.
Second down, 9, flag thrown, and may have been too much time again.
I tell you, that's not okay. If you're a Denver fan, and I'm sure their coaching staff is they'll take the responsibility for it, and you don't like it, and the players get hot when that happens. You know, somebody's taking too much time sending something.
Game offense, still second down.
You can see Dan over there looking at the side. Hey, we got to do this and we got to do that, and they haven't corrected the problem.
That's the third time that the Denver Broncos have taken too much time. Second down and 14. Now Paros is back in the lineup, combining with Winder as they split. Here's Rick Paros. And he gets to the Baltimore 48-yard line. Rick Parrow's third season out of Utah State. Stopped by Johnny Cooks, the inside linebacker on the left.
It can't take too long to call a draw play, all right? Now, if you get caught for too much time and your play was a draw, there might be a little too much going on in the way of, of what you have to say.
Third down and 7. Watson is right and Upchurch left. Watson in motion.
Look out.
And Elway smothered. Tim Anderson from the secondary leading the assault.
Little safety blitz, and he did it at just the right time. John did not have enough people there to pick up. You see Watson pretending to go in motion, going the other way, and as Elway tries to get out of trouble, he runs right into the safety blitz man. Good defense, good call at a perfect time.
So once again, John Elway has been sacked 4 times. And Luke Prestridge is back to punt.
What happens is when you get called for too much time, the defense has a chance to figure out what they want to do also, you know, and they get you in a box.
This is Larry Anderson calling for the fair catch. Now the Colts take over with 13:09 left in the fourth quarter. 42-yard punt. And it is Baltimore going to the offense once again. A reminder tonight on NBC at 7 o'clock. It's The Powers of Matthew Starr, followed by at 8 p.m. Knight Rider. And then at 9, the Sunday night movie, Beulah Land. That's all tonight on NBC. Well, the crowd getting charged up once again. I think they've reached the level of the first quarter. Pagel, though, asking for some quiet. And to throw on first down, a bullet. Incomplete. Intended for Matt Boozer. Randy Gradishar covering.
Matt Boozer made a fine play, Marv, trying to get in there. He actually hit Gradishar's thigh with his headgear. I mean, the ball was thrown low, the only place it could be thrown. Take a look out at that offensive line. They've made a couple of replacements out there. Now, their offensive center, Donaldson, has been playing really well, but now they've got number 63 in there playing offensive center, and I hadn't seen him before.
Unless they
53.
No, that's Donaldson.
That's Ray. He's in there.
I know they've changed the number, but
they've got Ben Utt playing right guard.
Curtis Dickey off the left side. Bush has been shuffling as he did last week. And Ben Utt can go both left guard and right guard. In fact, last week Utt started at left guard. Chris Hinton with the knee injury did not start. Steve Busick on the stop of Dickey. And now Jeff Hart is in at the right tackle, wearing there is number 68.
Marv, just take a look at them getting off on the ball, and that is because they're fresh, and Denver isn't quite so fresh. They're getting real good play out of their young offensive line. I'll tell you, they must think they can run over the top of them. I think they may come up broke trying to do that, though.
Third down and 6 from the 27 of Baltimore. That pass off the mark. Bernard Henry was there, but the ball was not. Steve Foley was back covering.
Well, I'll tell you what, the ball was not there, but I'll bet you if Bernard Henry looks at the film, he was supposed to have turned up right in that hole because Pagel threw the ball just before he was hit, and I think he expected Henry to turn, look, and be ready to stop.
The Raiders still in front of Houston. You saw the Jets trailing Seattle. New York Jets yet to beat the Seattle Seahawks. 0-6 lifetime.
And Zorn said, hey, we're ready for them.
All right, here's Ron Stark. And Zach Thomas on the return. Thomas tried the stiff arm effect. Greg Braceland with the low tackle. 12 minutes, 7 seconds left. Fourth quarter. And Denver and Baltimore tied at 3. In the fourth quarter, Miami leading New England 34-17. Now the Rams and New Orleans in the fourth. Rams lead at 21-20 off the 46-yard punts. Steve DeBerg running the Denver offense once again and able to complete to Rick Parros. And Burrows broke a tackle to pick up the first down. James Burrows making the stop. Colts thought they had him, but now penalty marker is down, and it's against Denver.
You almost get the feeling it's better not to have the ball if you want to make any yards.
Yes, during the course of the first half when it was a 3-3, as we commented, not a bad game for a 3-3.
Number 60 offense, holding, still first down.
So the hold is called. I don't think that number was called out correctly by Gene Barth. There's Elway on the sideline. Steve DeBerg has come on once again.
It's not a very rewarding day for John. He didn't play real well. They didn't give him a lot of chance to play well, but when they did, he just didn't throw it the way John Elway's accustomed to throwing, and I think the replacement was right.
All right, the screen for Paris. And he fumbles. And picked up by the Baltimore Colts. This is Larry Anderson. And Larry Anderson runs it in. No penalty markers down. It will count. Larry Anderson has given the Colts the lead.
You know who made it, don't you? Vernon Maxwell. He's the man who created the whole kiddabaloo. You see John with his head down. He'd love to be playing, but he didn't. I mean, it's DeBerg's game right now to win or lose, I view. And as we said, it's easier to make points without it today.
It's a 41-yard run by strong safety Larry Anderson. Rayo Allegre looking to add the extra point. Enter. It was Vernon Maxwell who created the fumble, hitting Tony Collins of New England last week. That was gobbled up by Johnny Cooks, and he ran it in. In overtime, Maxwell again with the hit. Larry Anderson able to run it in.
Let's take a look at how it developed, though, Marv. Take a look. Here's Barrows coming on. Vernon Maxwell, number 56, behind him. The real good linebackers, when they make the play, create fumble. He's created them time and time again, and today's been no exception.
A real automotive 2000 responding to the Baltimore Colts as Allegre picks it off to Mike Hart. And again, a hard hit by the Colts. Mark Defensis, who was picked up this past week from the Cleveland Browns. Very quick to get downfield.
Good movement. The ball was kicked high, which gives those fellas on that special team a chance to get past their block so they can get to that guy returning that kickoff. You make a play inside the 20. Now that they're kicking off from the 35, you have made some play.
And the chant of defense. First and 10. Back at the 17, Steve DeBerg remains in at quarterback. Rick Powers. And slammed out of bounds. Derek Hatchett and Vernon Maxwell making the play.
Last week, in the fourth quarter, they needed a touchdown. DeBerg got it for him, rallied his groups, went right down and scored. He's got a little bit more in front of him today. He's got a group that is all fired up. He's got a bunch of fellas that are playing at home. He's got to get out of that infield down there, which is doubly tough.
2nd and 7. Watson followed across by Hatchett. That was a desperation throw by DeBerg. The rush of Steve Parker, the rookie from Northwestern, forcing DeBerg to get rid of the football.
He threw a lateral is what he did, and I think they caught it, and it went a little backwards. That just compounds the problem. When it's going bad, it keeps going bad. doesn't matter who they put in there. If anybody comes through that fast, it's going to be tough for the quarterback. We should repeat, however, we said it once, that Elway was not taken out because of injury. He's taken out because Baltimore has had the best of him today, and I'm sure there'll be other days, but today the blue and white won.
So the illegal forward pass moves it back, 3rd down, 18. The ball is on the 9. 11:26 left, 4th quarter. A lot of movement, flag down, and DeBerg throws. And completes to Watson for the 1st down, but we'll have to see what that call is. Kim Anderson, the nickel back on the tackle of Steve Watson.
That was a beautiful throw. I used to see a lot of those in professional football. That's the first one we've seen today over the linebackers in front of the defensive secondary. You'd like to get used to seeing that in pro ball.
69 defense, offside, penalty refused, 1st down.
That's a big penalty called on Leo Wisniewski, the nose tackle, who has played so well for Baltimore, and Leo hearing it.
Well, I don't see where it didn't affect the thing. They picked it up anyway. They didn't take the penalty. You see Frank Kush, that's one of the things he's going to have to handle. I mean, Wisniewski's aggressive. He's been playing great. He's made some big plays, and you do it because you're aggressive. And sometimes you're going to be a little quick.
1st down at the 31. Here's Parros. Nice move by Parros for the 1st down. Kim Anderson running about. So Denver with another 1st down.
And I've noticed Dan Reeves is getting his plays in a lot quicker. I see DeBerg right there. This time they send the back Nathan Poole, number 34, in to give him the message quick so they can get out of the huddle and get the play off.
That winning touchdown engineered last week by DeBerg came off a beautiful delay by Nathan Poole, leading to the touchdown pass to Ron Egloff in the 4th quarter. Short setup, Upchurch. And picked up 4.
You know when an offense really does well is when all their players feel an immediacy about scoring the football. It's not when you're relaxed and you're taking your time in the huddle and you're taking your time out of the huddle. It's when you've got something to accomplish. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. The plays are crisp. They come up to the line, they get set, and they execute. And you haven't seen that very often in Denver the last couple of years until they get into a time problem. They're in one now, and they look a whole lot more settled.
2nd down and 6. Sammy Winder got caught. He tried to fake, had nowhere to go. Sander Shiver making the stop of Winder.
Well, I'll tell you, those offensive linemen are having a little trouble pushing the defense, and particularly number 69. Wisniewski is making things happen in that middle. Sander Shriver just picks up what he left. Here we are, 3rd and 11. He completed it under tough situations before. Can he do it again? You can't keep doing it.
And Denver running from that Baltimore Oriole infield. Here's DeBerg. Dave Preston. Oh! Nearly broke the tackle, but stopped at midfield.
It was a very good play. What happened though was the blitz. They blitzed 7 players on DeBerg. Preston was really all alone when he caught it, but real good pursuit by the secondary.
Combination of Johnny Cooks, James Burrows, stopping that Denver drive, and Luke Prestridge is in to punt.
I think you've got to be impressed with the way Baltimore's playing defense.
And again, they have the crowd charging them up. We are hearing the crowd here in this 4th quarter. Here's Prestridge. Larry Anderson is back and lets it fly. So out at the 13-yard line. 37-yard punt by Prestridge. And the Colts take over. 8 minutes and 52 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter, and Baltimore leading it by the score of 10-3. Next Sunday, starting at 12:30 Eastern Time, NFL 83 will get the day underway with a look at Washington Redskins quarterback Joe Theismann. And then regional action, Richard Todd and the New York Jets against the New England Patriots. Kansas City Chiefs visiting the Redskins of Washington. And we suggest you check your local listings for the games and times in your area.
Oh, you know something? I heard the whistle's late. Now, if they didn't blow the whistle, that was a fumble recovery. But I guess they blew it early.
Curtis Dickey appeared to have the ball jostled.
He did have it jostled, but he got the benefit of a quick whistle. That happens once in a while. All right, number 33. See, when they're tackling him, they're trying to get a hold of the ball. You can see he doesn't have it.
Rulon Jones, 75, try to strip him. 2nd and 7. And Randy McMillan is stopped at the line by Jim Ryan.
This is a cardinal sin. You get ahead by 7 points, and I know it's a defensive game. You start sitting on it, playing that clock, and you can get in trouble. It's just something psychologically. Your team starts holding on, and not too many good things happen that way.
Richard Todd to Wesley Walker, 46-yard pass play. It's now 17-10. Seattle leading the Jets in the fourth quarter.
Chuck Knox is not too bad at rebuilding.
Third down and 8. So a loss of a yard on that last play. Alvin Moore, the rookie from Arizona State.
Cush has made his decision. He is going to let the defense win it for him, because if he had any other thoughts, they'd have been throwing that ball. And we'll see if it works. It's the coach's decision to make, and he is either a hero or a bum.
Moore was stopped by Busick. And now 7 minutes remaining. Fourth quarter.
My goodness. Zach Thomas is 60 yards down the field.
Once again, the respect for Ron Stark gets the good hang time. Thomas coming up. And it is down at the midfield line. It goes as a 28-yard punt. And Denver will take over at the 50. So the Denver Broncos trailing the Baltimore Colts. The 41-yard fumble recovery run by Larry Anderson, a starter at strong safety today because of the injury suffered by Jeff Delaney. That off the hit of Vernon Maxwell, who has come through with another powerful performance. That has provided the Colts with the lead. Steve DeBerg at quarterback. And Rick Upchurch on the reception. So Upchurch stopped by Burrows with the long gainer, 27-yard pass play. And Denver first down at the Baltimore 26.
It's not that tough on first down to roll out, throw a ball in between a young secondary. Rick Upchurch has caught the ball in between defensive backs before. That's the first pattern that they've run where he had an opportunity to do so. They've been given every chance.
That's Watson in motion. And here's Winder. Sammy trying to pick his way. Steve Parker, Leo Wisniewski combining on the tackle. Sammy Winder stopped.
Parker on the stop.
Boy, you see Bill Bryan down there, their center, played the whole ball game, played very well. You can bet he's had. It's a long day in those trenches when you haven't scored any points offensively.
It's a second down and 8 at the 24. Marv Albert, John Brody from Baltimore. The Broncos in possession. They're trailing 10-3.
Here they come. DeBerg pulled him off.
throws for the end zone for Watson. Touchdown, but the flag is down.
But the flag, I do not think, well, I don't know. I think it's a touchdown. I think he pulled him off sides.
55 defense offside, penalty refused, touchdown.
So it is a touchdown for the Denver Broncos. DeBerg connecting with Watson.
It just looks, we're going to see the route he runs, but the reason he comes open the way he does, it really wasn't bad coverage by Hatchell. DeBerg gets out from under the pass rush. They were blitzing. They're leaving their defensive backs one-on-one. Watson picks it up, sees it. Easy completion for a touchdown. Very good play by DeBerg, getting the defense to jump.
It is now a 10-9 Baltimore lead. And here is Rich Carlos attempting to tie it. Penalty marker down as Carlos put it through.
Charlie Carlos kicked it right out of the cheap seats.
False start, 73 offense.
Well, the false start on Sean Hollingsworth.
Those babies are not automatic, Marv.
False start, 73. Will kick over.
So Rich Carlos will need a bit more distance now. DeBerg awaits the snap. On a movement on the line. And it's good. The Steve Watson touchdown pass play for Watson, his 5th reception, 107 yards in all thus far, has tied it. And we're even at 10 in this 4th quarter. Now the man has to generate some offense for his Baltimore Colts.
I'm sure he'd disagree with that assessment, Marv, but I agree with it. And I think whenever you run the ball 3 times and you've got a 7-point lead with 9 plays to go, you are sitting on it. Now he's got to regenerate his group, and I don't know. That remains to be seen.
Larry Anderson on the return had a pretty move at the 25, but Anderson taken down by Nathan Poole.
Old Mo has a way of changing, and when it's on your side, I hate to let it go. It has definitely gone.
And there is that Denver drive capped off by the 24-yard touchdown pass to Steve Watson. Mike Pagel has not completed a pass in the second half.
And hasn't thrown very many.
1st and 10 at the 27. Alvin Moore and Randy McMillan in the backfield. Pagel on play action. Dumping it off to Moore. Alvin Moore taking the shoulder from Steve Foley.
Dave Pagel made a fine play. He got out of a big pass rush. He's got good movement back there for a quarterback. And then he made a wise decision. Moore made a good decision by not trying to help him by blocking. There was only one man trying to handle 2 people. Left him all alone, picked up the first easily. Look at Dan Reeves over there, hoping his defense can hang on. This game gets to be a gut check, week in and week out.
Tied at 10, 5.5 left, 4th quarter. McMillan out to the 45-yard line.
Beautiful open field tackle by Dennis Smith. You don't see many tacklers take down either McMillan or Dickey without any help.
5-yard pickup, 2nd down and 5. Did you say the team that scores 17 points, was it, would win this game?
Yeah, I think that was set. That tone was set pretty early, Marv.
Did you say that?
Well, I guessed it. If I think a team would settle if they got it right now, but...
leading the Colts up. And this is Moore. He has speed and has the 1st down. Alvin Moore 7th-round draft pick rookie from Arizona State, run out by Dennis Smith, and a first down for Baltimore.
All you have to do, a little play-action pass. You get those linebackers not knowing whether you run or pass. Then they can't sit there and turn you in before you get around the corner. Moore gets around, pick up the first down, and they're not sure whether you're going to run or pass right now. In my opinion, when you have a good running group, you've got to throw a lot of play-action passes. If you don't, you're not utilizing what you do best.
Alvin Moore, who did not have a run from scrimmage last week, looking impressive here today at a very fine preseason. Little mix-up, but McMillan able to cut away and picked up a couple.
I tell you, picked up 5 because he fumbled it forward, and the Broncos couldn't keep it from going out of bounds.
Right here, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is Colorado's News Channel, Channel 4, KCNC, Denver.
Very hard to operate when you've got that ball in that infield. They haven't changed it in the last 25 years, and I had my opportunities. We put a lot of 3- and 7-point games together out there, so I know.
Alvin Moore is stopped. So this time, Moore stopped. Combination of free safety Steve Foley and the nose tackle Don Latimer.
Not too bad a day for Randy McMillan, Marv, huh?
And this is all coming up right here at NBC following the Denver Broncos and the Baltimore Colts starting tonight with the powers of Matthew Starr. 3rd down and 8. Randy McMillan has had a good day. 84 yards, 15 carries, but Pegel to throw. Incomplete, intended for Matt Booza.
And Booza was all alone, but Pagel couldn't get enough time to get himself gathered to be able to throw the ball lightly. And it doesn't look as if Pagel's hurrying off the field. He got hit pretty good.
And a punting situation. Run start.
Rough day on quarterbacks, Marv. This is Elway took his licks. DeBerg has had his problems, but he did get him down for a touchdown. He's been the most productive of the 3, even though he hasn't been in there very long.
And behind Pagel, a shaky situation in Baltimore. What with the injury suffered by Mark Herman.
Well, I think you're going to see Mark Reed come in, who hasn't had any experience in the National Football League. Take a look at Pagel. You get 3 guys beaten on you after a whole day's work. It's not too much fun. They deserve every bone they're paid.
Pagel looks to be all right, but behind him is a rookie from Georgia Tech by the name of Jim Bob Taylor. And Mark Reed spent last year with the Giants, but has not thrown a pass in regular season play.
Jim Bob's supposed to be a receiver, isn't he? They don't really have Jim Bob Taylor.
Good name. Yep. All right, the punt by Stark with Upchurch back. Oh, and he gets the bounce.
Well, how good is he?
Wow. Ron Stark with his 9th punt of the day. This one goes 42. He's averaging 41 yards a punt. He's hit a couple 60-plus. He's done it all today. He's a second-year man out of Florida State. Last week, he averaged 54 yards per punt.
I'll tell you what he's done. He's put Baltimore in a position where they're going to have to do something to get out of that hole or give up field position inside the 50. If I'm Dan Reeves right now, I know it's a tough situation. Call a play-action pass. Let DeBerg get you out of the hole. They have to put together their own drive because there's still 4:23 left on that clock. 3 timeouts with both sides. Let's see how it goes.
First down back at the 2-yard line as we look at Steve DeBerg from our end zone camera. Parros. Nice play. Rick Parros on the reception.
I tell you, a play-action pass in a situation like that is almost a gimme because linebackers want to catch running backs for a safety every time. It doesn't matter what you're taught to do. That time DeBerg made a very good fake on the running play. He's got Parros standing all alone, gets him out of a hole, runs about 45 seconds off that clock, and gets him in a much better frame of mind.
Third reception for Barros. Picked up the first down out of the 15-yard line. Now 3:40 left, fourth quarter. Sammy Winder with a burst. He's going to hold. Sammy Winder to the 40-yard line. Vernon Maxwell finally able to haul him down. A 25-yard run by Winder.
Marv, you know how you get 25-yard runs as we look at Winder coming through a fine hole at the point of attack, because you get help from your wide receivers. This time, Steve Watson, even though he didn't make a block, was down there trying to help out. That gives your back an opportunity to run off whatever movement you create, and they certainly do appreciate it.
Sammy Winder, 78 yards, 17 carries, first down at the 41, 3.5 left, fourth quarter. This is Barros. Maybe a yard. Barry Krause, inside linebacker, number 55, on the stop. We're tied at 10.
And may be tied at 10 for quite a while.
And Baltimore involved in an overtime game last week, although a quickie, only 30 seconds in, able to win it off the fumble recovery run by Johnny Cooks. And a defense from the crowd here at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. Second down 9. Deflected, intended for Upchurch.
Who do you think deflected it? Vernon Maxwell. Every time you need a guy to make a big play, he's in your face. I mean, he's going to be a real factor in this league, and he's going to mean an awful lot more to the Baltimore Colts, even than they expected. Now, Cush did recruit him when he was in high school. He had him at the university, at Arizona State University. He knows what a great player Vernon Maxwell is, and I was surprised he was available on the second round.
Last week, 9 tackles, 2 sacks, and having another outstanding day here against Denver. 2:49 remaining, fourth quarter. 3rd and 8. He's coming again. It's Maxwell.
It's the little things, right? With the number 56 on their backs to make it tough on quarterback. The back was there in perfect position to handle Maxwell. Could not do it. Blitzing situation. It's just here's a man that's taken over the flow of the game.
3rd sack of the day for Maxwell. Colts have 5 in all.
Well, DeBerg is not a very mobile quarterback, but he is a good thrower. He's back there in a position to throw the ball for a first down. Watson was open. Maxwell didn't let it happen.
High snap for Prestridge. Larry Anderson. That is 33. Interesting cut and a penalty marker.
That was a big problem because they're trying to get it back in good field position, and I think by trying to get a few more yards, he created a clip. Now they won't be there.
Wilbur Myers on the tackle, 41-yard punt. About a 3-yard return as Anderson tried to cut away and go circular route. And
can't
move it back.
You can't fault the back, but it's just one of those things.
Number 60, illegal block in the back during the run back. First down.
Credit the defense.
Gary Pageant, backup linebacker, has called out the penalty. We're down to 2 minutes, 8 seconds remaining. Fourth quarter. Denver and Baltimore even at 10. Exchange of field goals in the first half. And then the touchdown scored in the fourth quarter. Baltimore off the fumble by Barros after the reception, gobbled up and run in 41 yards by Larry Anderson. And DeBerg hitting Watson, 24-yard touchdown pass play. Newton Williams stopped by the combination of Bradishar and Tom Jackson.
You know what's happening? Right now, the fans are booing their own offense. They don't like them. They don't like the attack that Frank Cush is employing. They don't like the fact that he sat on the ball early, and they don't like it, the fact that he's sitting on it now.
Our 2-minute warning. And now here comes another one of those fantastic finishes.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes. 1981, 35 seconds left. Buffalo trails New England by 4. Roland Hooks makes a sensational catch at the 36. Buffalo's got a shot. Joe Ferguson, he's a high-arching Big Ben special into the end zone. Frank Lewis leaps and tips the game winner to Hooks. With only 5 seconds left, the Bills win 20-17.
Pick it up, pick it up.
Pick up your favorite beverages in aluminum cans. They're recyclable.
Pick up a good thing, aluminum can.
A year.
Check of the scoreboard. Seattle has made it 7 out of 7 lifetime over the New York Jets. Went to Shea and beat the Jets. Raiders over Houston. And right here in Baltimore, with a minute 59 remaining in regulation, the Broncos and the Colts are tied at 10.
Well, Baltimore's playing to jump into first place with Miami right now. After 2 games, would you figure they're going to beat New England and Denver? I mean, they've got an excellent chance right now, and I think that the fans, being as pumped up as they are, do not condone his sitting on the ball right now. They want to take a shot at winning. It's like, hey, we got to create something. They're not going to give it to us. These guys are a veteran defense. You sit there and sit on it, they'll take it and stick it someplace you won't like it.
And it shows that Coach Frank Kush does not trust his offense.
Well, I can't tell you what he's thinking, but I'll tell you the actions that are taking place indicate that he doesn't have as much confidence as he's going to need to have in them. And I don't think his defense can do it all alone. They've done about all you can ask them.
Led by the rookie from Arizona State, Vernon Maxwell, 3 sacks. Baltimore with 5 sacks on the day. Linebackers have played very well. Maxwell, Krause, Cooks,
well, I'll tell you what,
Shiver.
Get these 8 linebackers out here week in and week out, and you can say that every week. Randy Gradishar, Bob Swenson. How far do you want to go? Busick has shown he's a real fine player. Jim Ryan sat in today. He played well. Now, you put that on top of those young fellas from Baltimore, and you've got some really quality linebackers.
Apparently a problem with the clock, and they're running it back down.
Well, when you're in Baltimore, they decided 159 wasn't enough, so they went the other way.
All right, officially 2 minutes. I thought he said earlier we have the 1 minute and 59 warning. It was the 2 minute warning.
It said it, but
all right. Second down and 8 from the Baltimore 24. Booza in motion. And here's Pagel.
Rulon Jones. Don't try running those patterns where your receivers have to go 14, 15 yards down the field before they're ready to catch the ball, because Rulon Jones will be in your quarterback's lap.
Pagel was shaken up in the last Baltimore series and apparently is all right as he hangs in.
I don't know if he's all right, but he's in. he's taking his lumps.
Third down and 8. And Pagel to throw. Stepping up, but in trouble. Run it to his own man and then goes down. Barney Chavis covering up. To his own offensive line.
All right, he didn't have any receivers open. Now, well, that's what happens when somebody defensively creates the pocket problem that they did then. Now Pagel's scrambling around just looking for a little daylight. Doesn't find it. Chavis finally makes the play. What's happened here is because they didn't throw the ball on first down. Here we are being we know it all, right? But now they're sitting there with a punting situation where Ron Stark has once again got to unload a long one to get Denver out of a good field position with 1:49 left. All right, it just seems to work that way when you don't keep going.
And now the Baltimore Colts talking it over. Let's see, was a timeout call? Yes, apparently Denver did take time.
Why not? They got to take one now. They're going to keep 30 seconds more in their own possession. That's the most you can say with a timeout. New Orleans beat the Rams, or no?
No.
Rams are beating New Orleans.
In the fourth quarter. And now we're set for play to resume. And Ron Stark back at his 5. And Rick Upchurch, running back punts this afternoon, is back. Last season led the NFL averaging 16 yards per return. But hang time again. Upchurch. 35, 40. And hauled down across the 40-yard line by Kendall Williams. So 1 minute and 37 remaining in regulation. And Denver takes over. 56-yard punt by Stark, who is putting some very impressive statistics up there. 11-yard return by Upchurch.
Let me just tell you something. Pagel, who has had a tough day, it's been real tough on him, was just going for the smelling salts. So it's not like this stuff doesn't take effect. DeBerg right now enjoying good field positions, got all the time he needs to get his team into field goal position. And you can see now we've got the new quarterback warming up for the Colts if they do get the ball back. Number 8, Mark Reed.
Art DeBerg, 8 for 10, 104 yards. Taking over for Elway, going deep for Watson. Steve Watson inside the 5.
Well, how good was that pattern? You know, it does work when you put the ball up in the air. I'm not kidding you. Steve Watson just ran right by the defensive secondary personnel. Number 45, James Burrows, hadn't been tested. They probably surprised him to death. Anyway, put it right where it had to be thrown. And boy, you could hear a pin drop.
55 yards. Watson and DeBerg hooking up. So Steve DeBerg, who came on to hit Watson on a 24-yard touchdown pass play earlier this fourth quarter, now has
right is I do not do anything smart. We don't have to score a touchdown if you're Denver. There's 44 seconds. Don't get in too quick.
Rick Parros. We'll have to see where they mark his forward progress. Might have picked up a yard on the play. Johnny Cooks on the tackle. 34 seconds remaining, and a timeout is called. Denver calling time. They're down to 1 timeout left. Baltimore has 3. So the Denver Broncos will have a 2nd down and goal. Well, they mark it just outside the 2.
And I'll tell you what you do. If you're Dan Reeves and Steve DeBerg right now, they're thinking since the first play getting down here was a simple first down. Okay, Watson, can you run by anybody? Burrows is standing out there surprised. He ran right by him, didn't make a move. DeBerg put it right where it had to be thrown. A beautiful, beautiful pass. They're in position to win the game easily now, but their discussion is surrounding, hey, do we want to run the ball in? I think they're going to have more success. I think they're going to decide we're not going to try and throw it. We're going to run the ball. If we don't make it, we're going to wait till there's about 3 or 4 seconds left. As you can tell by the stats of DeBerg, he has come on for the 2nd week in a row and been just what the doctor ordered at the right time. John Elway's had a real problem getting off the ground. I think Dan Reeves will keep John Elway in the lineup, starting the ball games. He'll keep going. DeBerg has got things going for him right. When there's a problem, they'll put DeBerg in, and it's a very healthy situation for Denver.
And Steve Watson, with his 6th reception, has 161 yards in all. The big play, the 55-yard pass play to put Denver in this position. Here's DeBerg on the roll, trying to take it in, and he does.
He takes it in and got he got leveled, but I don't think he felt it.
Steve DeBerg with the rollout right to give Denver the lead, 16-10.
They kept putting pressure on the defense. Baltimore played so well defensively. Their offense didn't hold up. If you don't get any offense at all, eventually your defense has got to give up a little. They did at a very crucial time for Baltimore, and Denver's got something in their hip pocket with 29 seconds to play. They should have a 7-point lead, and I think maybe 17 points will win this game.
Someone said that. All right, the try for the extra point by Rich Carlos. And the Broncos now by 7. So the Broncos in a come-from-behind effort, leading the Colts 17-10 with 29 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter.
And you can see, I asked John Elway last night, I said, have you ever been on the winning side of a football game when you only scored 14 points? He said, I've never been within 14 points when I only scored 14. Well, he didn't score any today and got out with what appears to be a victory with 29 seconds left.
Of course, John is used to those astronomical scores out at Stanford. He's had a few of those.
And I was very interested to see the reaction when DeBerg ran over to the sideline. The two of them embraced, shook hands, and you got a big smile out of Elway. I think he is more concerned for the group than he is for his stats, and I think that's probably why they've got him.
Our 3 plays, 58 yards. Touchdown drive, taking only a minute 8. Of course, the big play, 55-yard pass to Berg and Watson connecting. Alvin Moore on the return out to the 33-yard line with 23 seconds remaining. Wilbur Myers and Rick Dennison combining on the stop. The Baltimore Colts now with 23 seconds left and trailing 17-10, and apparently Mike Pagel was severely shaken up because for this final drive he's been replaced by Jim Bob Taylor.
He probably went and asked him, Coach, you want me to win it or just tie it up?
11th round draft pick, Jim Bob Taylor. And here is Taylor looking to throw for the first time in the NFL. Penalty marker is down, and the pass is picked off. He was out of bounds. Pass intercepted, but a penalty marker thrown down.
Looks like a little offsides to me, Marv. 15 seconds remain. That's the problem there. 3 timeouts, but they won't get a chance to use them all.
Dennis Smith picking it off. However, here's the announcement from Gene Barth.
Illegal formation. The right tackle was uncovered. Still first down.
Uncovered.
Illegal formation, right tackle uncovered.
I don't get
We'll have to check that one out after the game. All right, here's Taylor throwing again, this time a bullet. Bernard Henry looking for the sideline, down to 5 seconds.
1 play left.
4, 3, let's see if they can call timeout.
Better.
That's the unofficial time.
No, I think this fella number...
Yes, he called it.
The linesman called it while he was running and yelling.
That's the unofficial time running down, but a timeout was called, and they'll reset the clock. Roger Jackson on the tackle of Bernard Henry.
Marv, I think we should clear one thing up. We were discussing the fact that we thought Dennis Smith had picked the ball off. Obviously, had that been recorded, they would have refused the penalty.
Just 1 second.
He caught it out of bounds.
Yes. There is 1 second left on the clock. There is 1 second left on the clock.
Can't get too many plays in that period of time.
So the timeout called by the Baltimore Colts. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weissman. Coordinating producer of NBC's football is Ted Nathanson. Today's game has been produced by Ron Kershaw, directed by Harry Coyle, technical director Len Stucker, and associate director Steve Rosen. Thanks to our spotters Charlie Caliano, Ron Thomas, our statistician John Schneider. They are resetting the clock. 1 second remaining. Well, Jim Bob Taylor is 1 for 1 in his NFL career. Transfer from SMU to Georgia Tech. He is the number 2 quarterback because of the injury, the broken collarbone suffered by Mark Herman. Herman and Pagel were battling for that number 1 spot during training camp. So here it is. And the world knows the attempt right here by Taylor. Firing end zone.
Got a chance.
It is intercepted by Denver as the ball game concludes. Picked off by Dennis Smith. So this one inbounds, and it will go down as an interception. The Denver Broncos have come from behind. Steve DeBerg out of the bullpen to pull it out by the score of 17-10. Marv Albert with John Brody saying so long. Now let's go to NFL 83.